They were called the Fredericton Canadians, the provincial rivals of the St. John Flames, the Battle of New Brunswick. Heated contests that provided the fans with exciting hockey, but this era came to an end last season when the Fredericton Canadians moved to Quebec City, leaving the Flames alone to defend the honor of New Brunswick in the AHL. Now they're called the Quebec Citadels, and even if they represent Laval Province's capital, the rivalry with St. John still exists. They lost to Fredericton in last season's playoffs. It's still fresh in the Flames' mind. Tonight it's the first ever regular season visit of the Quebec Citadels since they moved north of the New Brunswick border. Citadels and Flames live on TVNB's Primetime Sports.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Harbor Station here in St. John, New Brunswick for AHL action here on TVNB's Primetime Sports. I'm Barry Johnson along with Jim Hennessy. Jim, we got the Citadels and the Flames here tonight, an old rivalry being rekindled here once again.
Well, you couldn't ask for anything better on a Saturday night for hockey action. Like you said, the now defunct Fredericton Canadians, Quebec Citadels in town. Michel Therrien, Rick Vibe. Hey, you need say no more. These two simply do not like each other, so you can expect a hard, fast-flying, hard-hitting game here tonight at the station.
Well, if anybody who read the papers here around the province in the last week or so know that there's a heated rivalry between Michel Therrien and Rick Vibe. And these two teams certainly do have a rivalry because the Quebec Citadels are sitting in first with 31 points right now, and the Flames are sitting in second with 25 points. Both of them are on a mini winning streak right now. The Flames with a 2-game winning streak, and the Citadels with a 3-game winning streak.
How many times are you going to mess that up tonight?
Oh, quite a few, I think.
Both of us will. You're exactly right. This is a very interesting game tonight. Flames have 4 games in hand, but trail the Citadels in the Atlantic Division by 6 points, I should say. So they've got to make a run for it tonight. The Flames are going to tell the Citadels at any time in the season that they are a threat. It's got to be here tonight. Chris Lee is the referee, Ross A. native. It's going to be interesting to see how many cheers you hear for the ref tonight instead of boos, because there's a few fans of Chris's here in the building tonight. About 4,600 on hand here at Harbor Station.
One noticeable absent here from tonight from the St. John Flames lineup is Martin St. Louis, the leading goal scorer and point getter here with the Flames. He's up in Calgary enjoying a rather nice preseason, I guess you could say, for him so far.
Yeah, he's playing fairly well up there. As soon as he gets bumped up a couple of more lines, I think Calgary's going to see the full potential that Martin St. Louis brings to this organization. Nat Tom McKelly's been up there for almost a month now, so it looks like he might stick at least until the All-Star break. So the Flames got out on the road, beat Providence. Providence got a great team, 6-1. Like you said, Quebec's coming in on a 3-game winning streak. Flames got 2 underneath their belt, so it's going to be real interesting to see. First goal, I think, is going to tell the tale tonight. Both these teams are going to come flying out of the gate, so strap yourselves in, throw another log on the fire, and let's get ready to go. This is going to be a great game.
One key note here tonight, the Citadels in penalty killing are 6th at 86.8%, and the Flames are 3rd, and that's good for 22% in power play. So there's something to watch there tonight. The Flames power play and the Citadels penalty killing. But right now we have the national anthem, and then we'll have the play by Aaron Kennedy and Steve Ryan.
Good evening once again from Harbor Station, and welcome to Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94. Along with Steve Ryan, I'm Aaron Kennedy. A special hello this evening to those of you tuning in to Primetime Sports on TVNB, the first game of the season from Harbor Station. And it should be a dandy as the St. John Flames take on the Quebec Citadels. It's a familiar pastime in the fall months in New Brunswick. Going hunting tonight, the Flames are the hunters. The Citadels, who lead the division, are the hunted. Quebec with 31 points in 25 games played. St. John has 25 points in just 21 games played. Jean-Sébastien Giguère in goal for St. John. He's to our left. To our right, it's Matthew Garand for Quebec. We'll check in with Andy Leroux for an update in our Rhetoric first goal of the game contest. For the benefit of those of you with us on TVMB, Lynn Carson is our contestant in the Rhetoric first goal of the game contest, and she's selected Lee Sorokin. Chris Lee is the referee. The puck is down at center ice, and the game is underway as Quebec Stéphane Robida gets it down into the St. John zone. Back to pick it up is Rocky Thompson. The Flames will move it from left to right as Thompson flips it down ice. Hustling after it is Robida. He has it in his own zone. An offensive-minded defenseman. He's gone 11 games without a goal. Now Brett McLean creates some havoc deep in Quebec territory. He's ridden up against the end boards by Jonathan DeLille. McLean gets free on the left side. Coming in to help out is Chris Clark, chopping it behind the net. Bégin skates after it to the right side. He runs into Pierre Sevigny. McLean has the puck, loses it. Bégin tries to keep it in as he's dragged down by Nasreddine, and Sevigny skates away to center. Playing it on the right side, DeLille. He fires it through the slot into the left corner. Sevigny picks it up. Bumped by Thompson. Loose behind the St. John net. McLean swings it left side. Bégin ahead at center for Chris Clark. Clark, nifty move around Razin. Moving in. Clark, shot stopped by Garand, who covers up, and Chris Clark picking up where he left off this past week. 10 points in his last 10 games. On the road in Providence and Hartford on Wednesday and Thursday, Clark had 3 points, 17 penalty minutes, and he was a +2.
Yeah, very, very good road trip for Chris Clark. And something you can expect out of him tonight, I think. The guy is on a roll, playing very, very well. But went around Razin. Good job by Garand, getting the angle on Chris Clark. Clark didn't have much to shoot at, but good burst of speed and a good save by Garand.
54 seconds gone in the first period. Benoit Breton, Jeff Cowan, and Sergei Varlamov up front for St. John. Quebec counters with Trent McCleary, Andrei Bashkarov, and Joel Theriault. Make that Jason Ward on the right side. Bashkarov has the puck. He gets it to Razin, who sends it out to center, and it's backhanded over the glass by Darryl Scoville. And we get a stoppage here. The lines, as we anticipate them tonight, Bashkarov, Ward, and McCleary. And as we saw earlier, starting the game for Michel Therrien was Bocage, DeLille, and Sevigny. Your other forwards, Joel Theriault, Darcy Harris, Christian Caron, Boyd Olsen, Stéphane Roy, they'll be mixed in there as well. For St. John, with Travis Brigley unable to go, he's out with the flu. Breton, Cowan, and Varlamov is the top line. Roach, Kachuk, and Fata is the second line, and the line that started is the checking unit that's been providing quite a spark lately. McLean centering Bégin and Clark. Scoville fires the puck into the Quebec zone. Back to pick it up is Gennady Razin. He skates away from Breton, brings it to center, flips it ahead, and it's shot into the zone by McCleary, knocked down and cleared by Chris St. Croix. It goes all the way into the Quebec zone. Coming out behind the net is Matthew Garand. He's lost 5 of his last 6 starts, can't get it out as Scoville holds in on the left side. Varlamov moves it to the right corner for Jeff Cowan. Cowan forced off the puck by Bashkarov, who clears it out to center. A minute 40 gone in the first period. It's 0-0. Puck high in the air at the St. John line. It comes to Benoit Breton. He'll give it to Cowan. Cowan on his backhand shoots it into the Quebec zone, and the Flames will make a wholesale change. Kachuk's line is out there with Roach and Fata, Sorokin, and Staples on defense. Boyd Olsen at center backhands it into the St. John zone. Scampering after it is Darcy Harris. Giguère swings it on the left side for Dave Roach. He's taken out solidly by Harris. Francois Grollo, a former Flame, at his own line, flips it off the boards in front of the Quebec bench to the St. John line. Sorokin plays it away. Daniel Kachuk has it. Rink wide at his own line. Staples plays it to the Quebec line. Sent ahead by Nasreddine. Olsen moves it to the St. John line. Cleared out by Sorokin. Skating after it is Fata down the right wing. Fata, backhand, save, rebound, scores! by Rico Fata, his 8th of the season. Good pass by Lee Sorokin to spring him loose.
Well, Sorokin seeing Rico Fata on the right side, dumping it past, and we're getting down over the blue line. Rico coming in, going to the backhand first. Good save by Guerin, but a good follow-up by Rico Fata. Key to a good goal score. Followed up, went to the forehand, slid it by Matthew Guerin, and we've talked about the importance of the first goal, Aaron. That's a big one tonight for the Flames.
And that means that Lynn Carson, our contestant in the Rennerek first goal of the game contest, does not win tonight, but her name will be entered into a draw at the end of the regular season for a week-long car rental, courtesy of Rennerek. Rico Fata with his 8th goal of the season. He trails only Martin St. Louis on the St. John roster, who has 15. Here's McLean moving in. His shot is partially blocked by Robida. Bashkarov comes up with it, brings it down the left wing to the St. John line. Bashkarov forced into the boards by Thompson, and Eric Charon has the puck. He cuts in front of his own net, sends it ahead. Flames from left to right. Clark moving down the right wing, goes around Razin. Clark in front. Backhanded it just wide as he's thrown into Garand, who then collides with the crossbar by Gennady Razin, and Garand is shaken up, but Razin has looked brutal here on 2 rushes by Chris Clark.
Yeah, absolutely, and he is getting beat easily. But Chris Clark is showing that good speed that's made him very, very effective in the last couple of weeks for the St. John Flames, going down hard on Razin and taking to the outside, going to the net. Good goal scorers will do that. We thought of Chris Clark as a mucker last year, but he's got a nice goal-scoring touch now, showing that by doing what good goal scorers do, go hard to the net.
Flames have certainly carried over their road success here early in this one, leading 1-0 and out-shooting the Citadels 4-0. Face-off is to the right of Guerin. The Flames control. Scoville pinches into the corner, carries it behind the net, tried to center it, but it was swatted away by Marc Bocage. He's taken out heavily in the corner by Cowan. Puck is picked up and brought up ice by Jason McBain. He's the Quebec captain. He'll shoot it in. Hard after it on the left side is Jonathan DeLille. DeLille knocked down by Graton. St. Croix takes charge, moves it out to center. DeLille from his knees works it to Bocage back to the Quebec line. McBain bounces it off the right wing boards. Scoville centers it, picked off by DeLille, and he'll fire it ahead. It skips off of Graton's skate, and it's Sevigny backhanding it into the St. John zone. 16 minutes, 16 seconds to skate in the first. 1-0 St. John. Scoville has the puck, moving it ahead for Cowan. He brings it into the Quebec zone. Loses it. McBain plays it off the boards. Graton is there. Back of the net for Jeff Cowan. He centers it. Steered away by Guerin. Loose in the corner. Sorokin pinches in deep left side. Flips it in behind the net. Sevigny with room. Comes up with it. Gets the stick up on Varlamov. Now Graton hit in the corner by Nasreddine. Puck is loose. Cowan bumps Nasreddine out of the play. Moves it for Graton. Benoit Graton controlling on the right side to the point. Jeff Staples shot. That one whistles wide. Sorokin can't keep the bouncing puck in at the Quebec blue line. Staples back in his own end. Moves it for Sorokin. Citadel still looking for their first shot. Sorokin tries the long dump. It's on net. Guerin catches it and then clears it to the line. Sorokin holds in. Fata steers it towards the net. Bouncing puck. Played away by Grollo. Picked up by Fata on the left wing. Fata has the game's only goal. Tries to go around McBain. Moves it for Roach. Back of the net. Kachuk is in there after it. Poked away by the Quebec defense. Nasreddine. Bashkarov now unable to clear. Kachuk in behind the net. Plays it for Roach. Flames are all over the Citadels. Kachuk at the side of the goal. Now in the right corner. Backhands it behind the net. Roach can't come up with it. Jason Ward has it. Ward, a former first-round pick, will bring it through the neutral zone. Tries to go wide around Thompson. Down the right side, in front. They score! Andre Bashkarov redirects the feed from Jason Ward. Bashkarov with his 8th of the season, and the game is tied at 1.
A little breakdown by the St. John Flames defense. Good job by Jason Ward getting the puck to the outside. Didn't give up. You mentioned first-round draft pick. This guy's got good wheels, good size, and a good hunger. There's a nice pass over to Bashkarov, and this guy's got a very good scoring touch. Wasn't covered by the D, and slid it past Jean-Sébastien Giguère. First shot on goal for Quebec. Makes it 1-1.
Bashkarov in his 7th season in North America played 10 games in Montreal last year, 13 games in Fredericton, and 34 in Fort Wayne. He finished 12th in International League scoring with 76 points 2 years ago. Ward gets the lone assist on Bashkarov's 8th at 5:06. 1-1 is the score. The puck is in the St. John end. Picked up behind the goal by Brett McLean. He'll shovel it to the corner. Razin is in there deep, battling with Clark. Harris moves it behind the net. Olsen cross-checked to the ice by Charon. Olsen back on his skates, controlling on the left side. Moves it for Harris. Harris in front looking for Olsen. It's broken up by Charon. McLean has lost his stick. He retrieves. Stefan Waugh loses the puck. It rolls to the net. Charon plays it away. Thompson skates after it and flips it to center. Robida will gobble it up there. He backpedals into his own zone. Plays it on the right side for Stefan Waugh. Waugh, the ex-Worcester Ice Cat, fires it ahead to Olsen. To the St. John line, he's turned away by Charon. St. Croix has the puck. Gets it to Clark. Clark fires it ahead and it skips past Bégin all the way down ice. 14 minutes remaining in the first. Fata and Bashkarov have the goals. The game is tied at 1. Frankie Grollo brings it to center, sends it ahead for DeLille to the St. John line, dropping it for Olsen. Shot skips into the corner. Graton's back there after it. He'll move it for Varlamov. He gets it out to neutral ice. Pierre Sevigny waits with it there. Sevigny flips it in, but it's an offside as Bocage hadn't cleared the zone. 1-1 is the score. This is Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94.
It's Big Macs all around. Simply present your tickets now to any local McDonald's restaurant today or tomorrow. Between 11 a.m. and 12 a.m., you'll receive a free Big Mac with the purchase of the medium or large soft drink fries. That's 5 goals and a win for a free Big Mac at McDonald's.
The Flames got what they wanted. That was a good start in the first goal of the game. What they did not want to have happen was for Quebec to come down ice on its first scoring chance and get one past Giguère. St. Croix shovels it in behind the Quebec net. It's picked up by Francois Grollo. He's pestered by Graton. Bocage has it. Spins away from Varlamov. Now Bocage will backhand it ahead to Sevigny. Sevigny, lead pass for DeLille, one-on-one against Scoville. DeLille waiting for some help, forced into the boards by Scoville. Sevigny charges after it into the corner. He runs into St. Croix and then falls. Now he trips St. Croix up. DeLille behind the net, plays it off the boards. Cowan is there, gets it past Grollo and out to center. It comes to Alain Nazardine. He's an alternate captain. Hot pass at his own line for Bocage. Ahead for Sevigny. He collides with DeLille. Nazardine sends it rink wide in his own zone. Grollo ahead for Bocage. Now it's picked up by DeLille. He'll bring it to the St. John line. Sorokin swats it away. Sevigny has it on the right side. Bumped by Scoville. Graton turns, looks to clear, can't. Puck is loose in the circle. Graton has it, and he'll lead the rush, giving it to Varlamov. Varlamov steps away from McCleary. The trailer is Sorokin over the line with a shot. Glove saved by Garand. That one was going wide, but Garand reaches out and makes a nifty glove save nonetheless. 12:36 remaining in the first. 1-1 is the score.
Well, the Citadel rebounding and really controlling the play in the last couple of minutes. Have to give them credit. After the Flames got a big goal from Rico Fata, blowing by Gennady Razin, the Citadels came back on that goal by Bashkarov on a great setup by Jason Ward. Shot by Lee Sorokin, as you mentioned, Aaron. It was going wide, but Mathieu Garand deciding to hold on to it.
He does catch with his right hand. The lanky left-hander, listed at 6'2", 182 pounds. Puck bounces in behind the Quebec net. Jason Ward has it, skating on the right side, out to center to Bashkarov. It's knocked away, and Roach fires it in deep. Garand will leave it behind the net for Razin. Fata's in there, centers it. Tkachuk dishes off, and Roach at the side of the goal had a wide open net, and the puck popped right over the blade of his stick. That was a great feed from Tkachuk. Now McCleary into the corner in the St. John zone. Bashkarov helps out McCleary. Back of the net for Bashkarov in front. It comes to the point. Razin, wrist shot. Scooped up by Giguère. Good effort by Fata, and again it was Gennady Razin getting burned in the defending zone.
Yeah, good job by Fata, and he's been very quick tonight, and once again his play as of late has been very, very effective for the Flames, digging the puck down low, and of course everybody knows about this guy's speed. He's great down the wing and really can turn things up for this hockey team, and really it keeps the defense back too. That's another thing that's tangible that really Rico Fata offers this hockey team. Keeps the other team's defense very, very on it.
From the face-off to Giguère's right. Grollo with a blast from the point. That one skipped off of someone in front and ends up in the right corner. Charon collides with Harris. Now Clark looks to get it out. He's hit by Waugh. McLean has the puck, sends it ahead, and it's picked up by Bégin. He'll drop it for Charon. He'll dump it into the right corner. Garand ventures out, leaves it for Robida. Robida hit in the end boards by Bégin. Puck loose behind the net. Brett McLean comes up with it. McLean pressured by Waugh, drops it off for Thompson. Back to McLean down low right side. Clark moves it in behind the net. McLean is after it. McLean working it along the end boards. McLean tries to force his way in front, gets away from Waugh. McLean working diligently in behind the net. Now McLean gets loose. Now he's held up by Grollo. McLean still working it along the boards, has it, centers it. Charon, slap shot, oh! And the puck is picked up and flipped to the line by Olsen. Thompson keeps it in. but as McLean comes up with it, it was a glove-to-head pass. Yeoman-like effort down low by McLean, and Charon blasts it off the right post.
Boy, he's been a spark plug ever since he's come up from Johnstown. And you mentioned earlier in the year it was a shame he had to go down, but good job of getting the shot back, or the puck back to Eric Charon. Banged it off the goalpost. A little bit of traffic in front. Not sure if Garon saw it or not, but Matthew Garon escapes with a goalpost there. But a good job by Rico Charon, and doubly good by that line. Once again, Bégin, McLean, and Clark really digging out there tonight so far.
1-1 is the score. 11:05 remaining in the first period. Face off in neutral ice outside the Quebec line. St. Croix drives it in. It rims around from right to left. Cowan deep, forcing it in behind the net. Breton is after it. He has it. Breton to the point. St. Croix fires it back in behind the goal. Sergei Varlamov is there. It hops over his stick. Breton charges after it. He's hammered into the end boards by Christian Caron, and there will be a penalty. Flames to the power play. It's 1-1. This is Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94. Christian Caron gets a minor penalty for boarding at 9:15. Caron, I should say, missed the first 19 games of the season due to a knee injury. Played the last 3 years at Trois-Rivières, and his coach there is now an assistant in Quebec, Eric Levine. Jaguar has a problem with his equipment. He's at the St. John bench. Flames, though, working the puck very well down low, and some good work by that checking unit of Bégin, McLean, and Clark, and specifically Brett McLean.
Yeah, that's the gritty play that we've been talking about, and this team had success, as we talked about earlier last Saturday night against Cincinnati, working the puck down low. We're very good. When they got the puck back to the point, you also had some traffic in front. That's what they're going to have to do to Garon tonight. He likes to flop. He's got that butterfly style. So get some traffic in front of him when he goes down. He's going to have a hard time seeing the puck. You don't have an overly physical defense here with the Quebec Citadels either, so certainly that can work in your favor, once again, if you get that traffic in front.
At every Flames home game, be watching for the Dairy Queen tennis ball toss. You could win an ice cream cake, compliments of Dairy Queen, the Dairy Queen tennis ball toss, following the warm-up at all Flames home games. Caron boarding, 9:15. St. John with the power play. The game is tied at 1. Scoville from the left point controls. Across right side, Varlamov back to Scoville. Winds, fires right on, rebound. Another save by Matthew Garon, as that was Benoit Greton who got an opportunity on the rebound, but he paid the price as he got decked by Alain Azardine.
Flames have been very successful on the power play as of late. 3rd overall in the American Hockey League, and they've really got it together in the last couple of weeks, playing very effective, throwing the puck around, all kinds of confidence. Good shot from the point. And once again, we talked about that traffic in front. Breton taking a shot from behind, but Garon coming up with the save and covering on the rebound. Penalty killing, the Citadels are 6, and they've done a pretty good job in that regard.
Quebec has killed off 12 of its last 13 shorthanded situations. The Flames power play in its last 8 games, 13 for 50. But here come the Citadels on a 2-on-1, and they go offside at the St. John line as Stéphane Waugh dropped it back on the right side for Trent McCleary. And Waugh didn't slow up even a little bit, and he was in ahead of the puck. Good break for St. John.
Yeah, absolutely. Waugh's got some great wheels, but you have to keep him under control. He was very good with Worcester for the last couple of years, but the Flames are going to have to watch that. This is a very good, as we talked about, very good penalty-killing unit for the Quebec Citadels. We talked about their 6th overall in the league. Very good as of late. Flames are going to have to keep doing what they're doing, throwing the puck around with confidence.
Stéphane Waugh is nothing if not consistent. 47, 48, and 44 points respectively in each of the last 3 years with Worcester. Sergei Varlamov brings it to the Quebec line. He controls on the left side. He tried to drop it off. Clark gets it to Scoville. Scoville centers it. Cowan fires it right on. Save is made. Greton on the rebound. Works it behind the net. Clark to the point. Scoville across for Sergei Varlamov. 1:10 in the power play. Scoville on his backhand gets it to Cowan. Cowan at the top of the left circle. He controls down low. Benoit Greton stepping in front. Moving in was Varlamov. Loose puck save. Rebound. Cowan shot it over the net. over the glass, into the seats, face off outside.
A little bit of a scrum out in front of the net. Jeff Cowan got the backhand. I don't think Garon was expecting Cowan to get near that puck. Two defense around, and then had another shot on the forehand. Good job by Jeff Cowan doing what you should do, go to the net. Jeff Cowan's been a big surprise lately for the Flames, coming back after that stomach injury, and he's been playing the way Jeff Cowan can play. Great set of wheels, good pass out in front, and once again Jeff Cowan coming in off of Garon's mask and going back to the forehand and putting it out of play, but good job by Jeff Cowan.
From the face-off, the Flames have it with 55 seconds to go in their power play. Coming out and firing the puck ahead is Garon. It's Tkachuk on the left side, controlling deep in the Quebec zone to the point. Sorokin for Chiron, one-timer, pad save, rebound. Fata can't control it. Fata gets it now on the right side, back to Chiron for Fata, top of the right circle. Fata has the St. John goal, drops it back to the line. Chiron into the corner looking for Tkachuk, but it's knocked down and cleared by Nazardine. 1-1 is the score. Fata and Bashkarov have exchanged goals here in the first 5 minutes of this game. Flame skate from left to right. Eric Chiron has the puck, brings it to center, sends it across. Chiron chips it in, and he'll charge after it. Chiron in behind the net, hit by McBain. Tkachuk gets it for Fata. He sets up back at the goal. Fata, left circle for Eric Chiron. Chiron moves it for Fata to the point. Sorokin now for Chiron. Bouncing puck. Chiron gets hit, and it's picked up and brought up ice by Bocage. He's short-handed, brings it into the St. John line, retreats to neutral ice. The penalty to Caron is over as Daniel Tkachuk has it now for St. John. He plays it into Quebec territory. 8 minutes, 35 seconds remaining in the first. It's 1-1. Gennady Razin controlling behind the Quebec net. Now Robida moves it back for Razin. Razin hooked by Clark. Razin plays it to center. Jason Ward is there, and he'll flip it into the St. John zone. Shots are 12-2 in favor of the Flames. Bejan in his own zone works it off the boards, kept in by Robida. It ends up back in behind the St. John net in the left corner. Bashkarov is after it. He's worked over by St. Croix, picked up by McLean. McLean steps away from Ward, sends it ahead for Scoville. Over the line, moving in, Bejan's shot, and he ripped that one wide. St. Croix can't keep it in at the line. St. Croix plays it into the zone. It's a delayed offside. Razin with time will bring it out to neutral territory, and he fires it to the St. John's blue line. Staples knocked down. Ward has the puck in front, broken up by Sorokin, and Sorokin will join the rush. Quebec with too many men on the ice as Sorokin drives it in over top of the Quebec goal. Cowan flips it back into the Citadel zone, delayed offside again, and play is stopped very quickly by linesman Bobby Jones. He and Larry Christian are the linesmen tonight, working with referee Chris Lee, who was last weekend named Sports New Brunswick Official of the Year.
For us, is Chris Lee doing a very good job this year in the AHL, getting all kinds of good reviews from everyone throughout the league. In a year that really refereeing, as far as the Flames are concerned, officiating certainly has been below par. Very questionable refereeing so far this year in games the Flames are involved in.
If you heard Dave Andrews' comments last weekend, or if you read his quotes in the Times Globe on Thursday, he was talking about some of the rookie officials having a hard time adjusting. He was not speaking about Chris Lee. Breton negates the icing deep in the Quebec zone on the left side, moves it off the boards for Varlamov. He's checked by Waugh. Varlamov tried to drop it off for Cowan. Cowan keeps it in at the line, and then he gets flattened by Grollo. And while he's down, he gloves the puck to Breton. That stops play with an even 7 minutes remaining in the first period. The game is tied at 1, coming up during our first intermission. For those of you on Primetime Sports on TVNV, Jim Hennessy and Barry Johnson are your intermission hosts. For those of you with us on Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94, Vito's Presents Unsportsmanlike Conduct with Bill Donovan, a conversation with Daniel Tkachuk, and a sports update with Andy LaRue. That's what awaits you during our first intermission. 12-2 are the shots in favor of St. John, but the game is tied at 1. Rico Fata chatting with Chris Lee. Face off in the neutral zone just outside the Quebec blue line. Bocage against Tkachuk on the draw. Bocage wins it. McBain, who won the Calder Cup last year with Providence, skates it to center and fires it into the attacking zone. Giguère leaving it behind the net. Rocky Thompson moves it to the corner for Fata. He loses it. It bounces in front, but it skips right to Charon, who sends it up the left wing. Hustling after it is Roach. Charon, the trailer, comes up with it with a shot off the side of the net. McBain tries to backhand it away. Now switches forehand. McBain will get another opportunity, flips it ahead, and it skips past Sharon to center. Thompson back at the St. John line. 360s away from Sevigny. Fans like that move, gives it to Roach, who sends it in deep. Thompson grins as he makes his way to the bench. Bada for Tkachuk! What a save by Matthew Guerin! He was behind the net. Tkachuk had a wide open cage, and Guerin came seemingly out of nowhere and made a spectacular save on Daniel Tkachuk, who snapped a 9-game goalless drought on Thursday. What a stop that was. Clark at the Quebec line, can't gain the line. Sevigny starts back. Sevigny moves it for Robida. He'll drive it in as he's taken out by Scoville. 5:50 remaining. Daniel Tkachuk will never get a better opportunity to score a goal than what he had right there. Clark can't clear his own zone. Ward leaves it on the left wing. It's centered by McCleary, but there'll be a penalty as two Flames, Clark and McLean, take down Ward. And I think it's McLean who shall be penalized. What a stop that was, as Guerin misplayed the puck when he came out behind the net, and Tkachuk had 24 square feet of mesh staring him in the face, and Guerin somehow scrambled back into position.
Battle with the pass, and Daniel Tkachuk just a little too long. That's got to get off his stick a lot quicker, kind of drag that wrist shot. But good job by Guerin of getting back after that miscue. Rico Fata getting in very quickly as usual. We talked about his play earlier. Down low, got the puck out to Daniel Tkachuk, and wide open net. Great opportunity to give the Flames a 2-1 lead. Instead, they're going to be going on the penalty kill. Quebec Citadels on the power play.
Guerin showing that he's come to play tonight, scrambling back into position to make his 12th stop of the night. Penalty is Brett McLean for obstruction hooking at 14:22. We'll see the Quebec power play for the first time in the game. They're 6 of 24 in their last 4 contests. Flames have killed off 7 straight shorthanded situations. Giguère tried to clear it. Robida knocks it down, moves it to Bashkarov, top of the right circle. To the point, Robida back to Bashkarov, moving in. Wrist shot, that one hit Staples. Bashkarov gets it back, he's just inside the line. Right circle, Ward, shot, steered away by Giguère, and it ends up in the seats. 1:22 to go in the penalty to McLean. 5:01 to go in the first period. 1-1 is the score, but that stop by Guerin has most of the people in this building shaking their collective heads.
It was a huge save by Guerin once again to keep this game tied at 1. Flames on the penalty kill, and we talked about it earlier. They have been better, as you mentioned, Aaron, as of late. We're very, very good. In fact, we really didn't get a chance to get on the penalty kill. They're still 18th in the league overall. As you mentioned, the power play right now, the Quebec Citadels are 12th, but they've got some firepower. And this team can throw the puck around very well with confidence.
Face off to the right of Jean-Sébastien Giguère. Roy against Gratton on the draw. It will be Gratton against someone else as Roy is asked to leave. Marc Bocage will step in, I'm sure. Roy wants to debate the point with Magic Christian.
It's going to happen.
And now Bocage will step in against Gratton. 1-1 is the score. Gratton wins the draw. Charon blasts it off the boards. Grollo is over to keep it in at the line. Grollo moves it for Stéphane Roy. Roy controlling on the right side. Down low, it's centered. Shot just wide by Bocage. It bounces all the way to center. Gratton skating after it. Grollo got there first and knocked it away. McBain ahead for Bocage down the left wing over the line. Drop pass, Sevigny moving in. Sevigny forced in behind the net. Sevigny still has it, now in front of the goal. Sevigny plays it to the point. Grollo right side Bocage. Back to Francois Grollo. His shot flutters over the net. It's off the end glass, picked up by McBain. In behind the goal, Charon is there. Hit by Bocage. Charon kicks it ahead. Sevigny comes up with it. 37 seconds in the power play for McBain. Shot off the crossbar. Picked up by Sevigny. Back to Grollo. Sevigny in the right circle. Back door. McBain. Shot. Stopped by Giguère. Picked up in the corner by Bocage. Behind the net. Sevigny can't control it. Thompson skates after it and backhands it out to center. McBain controls. He flips it off the linesman, and it's picked up by Pierre Sevigny. Sevigny narrowly averts contact with Tkachuk, then takes a whack from Bégin, then takes a slash from Tkachuk as Sorokin throws him into the boards. McCleary has it on the right side. A few seconds to go in the penalty to McLean. Another big hit, Sorokin this time on Bocage. Penalty's over. Rico Fata gets it out to center. Daniel Tkachuk plays it off the boards. McLean moving down the right side. Stripped of it by Nasreddine. Robida drops it off. Nasreddine brings it ahead. It's 1-1 with under 3.5 minutes remaining in the first. Nazardine makes a foray into the St. John zone with a shot right into Giguère's midsection, and he hangs on.
Well, good control by the Quebec Citadels, but the Flames, as you mentioned, Aaron, getting a lot better on the penalty kill. Rocky Thompson out there, and something you might not expect to see Rocky on the penalty kill is, he gets caught out of position on occasion, but doing a pretty good job out there. And discipline the key. Patience is the key with the offense sometimes, but good discipline with the defense. That shot that Giguère almost looked like he nonchalanted it on that shot from the point from Jason McBain, but beating him and hitting the crossbar. But good job by the Flames on the penalty kill.
Each team has a goal, and each team has hit iron. Giron earlier off the post, McBain that time off the crossbar. You can feel the energy in the air tonight in Harbor Station. First place showdown, biggest game in the league tonight. Bashkarov has it in St. John territory on the right wing halfwards, dropping it off for Ward. His shot blocked by Staples, picked up by Sorokin. He'll backhand it ahead for Fata. He traipses down the right side. He's over the Quebec line. Fata backhanding it for Daniel Tkachuk. Tkachuk moving it for Fata in behind the goal. Bashkarov will come up with it. Roach goes after him. Ward plays it back to Bashkarov. He'll fire it into the St. John zone. McCleary gives up on it, and that goes for an icing as Sorokin is back for the touch. 2:49 remaining in the opening period. 1-1 is the score. Fata opened the scoring for St. John with his 8th from Sorokin at 2:30. Bashkarov evened the score for Quebec with his 8th from Ward at 5:06. Quebec flies home after the game tonight, plays St. John's tomorrow. The Flames will travel to St. John's on Monday and play the Leafs Tuesday and Wednesday. 7 o'clock starts both nights at Memorial Stadium. And that will be your next 2 chances to win with Diamond Taxi Trivia during all Flames road broadcasts here on Country 94. Diamond Taxi Trivia, Tuesday and Wednesday from St. John's. Don't forget, it is a Saturday night. Keep this number in mind, 648-8888 for Diamond Taxi. Fata took a shot from the left side that didn't get through, and it's brought back by Darcy Harris. He'll backhand it in deep. Venturing out is Giguère. Giguère nudged by Olsen. Puck is centered. Backhander by Harrison. Giguère, taking a page from Matthew Garon's book, scrambles back and makes the stop.
Yeah, usually puck handling is one of Jean-Sébastien Giguère's strong suits, but got to the puck a little bit too late, and he has to get out there in a hurry, get the puck, flip it up either way. He has to make his decision. And good pressure by the Fredericton forward getting in there, but once again it bouncing off a skate, and Giguère having a little bit of trouble getting back. Wide open net for, looked like Darcy Harris, and Giguère sliding back and making that save.
Without his stick, which he had left behind the net. I think he heard the footsteps, Olsen coming in, and Olsen gave him a pretty good whack too to try and jar the puck loose. 1-1 late in the first at Harbor Station. Aaron Kennedy and Steve Ryan on Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94 and Primetime Sports on TVNB. Rocky Thompson just hammered Jonathan DeLille along the boards, and then he gives Pierre Sevigny a shove as well. Cowan shoots it into the Quebec zone as he's taken out by Grolo. Varlamov runs into Razin. Cowan has it, top of the left circle with a shot, save, rebound! Breton with a shot, and another dramatic stop by Matthew Garon as Breton corralled the rebound of Cowan's shot, and Garon makes another save, and the Flames are looking skyward, wondering what they have to do to get another puck past this guy.
I remember you did an interview with Giguère last year, and goaltenders don't want to look out of place. They don't want to be flip-flopping around, but Matthew Garon has been doing a lot of that tonight, but he's been successful. Score 1-1 so far, but he's made a couple of huge saves from his back and just throwing everything up he can. The one on Tkachuk earlier that he kind of gave the puck away and back to the net. Another one there, and he looks very sharp tonight, Garon. He's kind of flip-flopping around, but he's doing a pretty good job keeping the score at 1-1.
Rollo helped him out on that one too, on the attempt by Breton. It remains 1-1 inside of 2 minutes remaining in the first period. Brett McLean brings it into the Quebec zone, but the Flames are offside. This is the third of 12 regular season meetings between these two clubs. St. John has already lost twice in Quebec City. In their second game of the season, they fell 4-3 on October the 3rd, and then on October the 27th, St. John lost 6-4. Their next meeting will be Sunday, December the 12th in Quebec, and the Citadels do not return to St. John until the new year, Sunday, January the 2nd. In the neutral zone, Scoville blasts it in. It rims around the boards from left to right. Clark is after it on the right side. Clark gets it to Béjean. Béjean top of the right circle. Heavy traffic in front. Shot skips off the leg of Nazardine. Comes to Scoville. He plays it in front. Bégin fires that one over the net, over the glass, out of play, just like Cowan did earlier in the period. Face-off outside.
Well, I think Bégin certainly had some room. He had Guerin down, but just got the puck high over the net, and obviously out of the rink.
These guys have Grey Cup fever trying to put it through the upright.
Yeah. It was a good job by Bégin once again. You've talked about how good he has been lately, and I'll tell you, this guy's feisty. He does a very good job down low. He plays very, very tough, and he's sniffing around the puck very well. But that puck just looked like it got up on his stick a bit, and really not much he could do. He fired it at the net, but it went up and over.
Good positioning by Guerin because
Sure.
Bégin didn't really have a whole lot to shoot at, and that's why he tried to go so high. Just a tad too high. Cowan moving down the left side, angled into the end boards by Robida. Puck is loose. Varlamov's after it. Gratton has it. Gratton controlling on the right side. Benoit Gratton fires it in front. Poked away by Robida as Cowan had accepted the pass momentarily. Now moving through the neutral zone, it's Jason Ward down the right wing, dropping it off. Bashkarov's shot bounces in off the end boards, and Giguère will cover up with 59.1 seconds remaining in the opening period. 1-1 is the score. Elsewhere in the American Hockey League tonight, the Maple Leafs are playing in Albany, and Lowell is at Portland. The other games, not involving Atlantic Division teams, Hershey's home to Philadelphia, Hamilton's at Rochester, Wilkes-Barre Scranton entertaining Syracuse, Hartford playing in Springfield, and Providence is at Worcester. As I mentioned off the top tonight, if the season were to end today, Al McAdams' St. John's Maple Leafs would be on the outside looking in to the Calder Cup playoff picture. And Quebec would be playing Worcester in the opening round of the playoffs because of that crossover with a 4-team Atlantic Division and a 5-team New England Division. McLean tries to get the puck out of his own zone, can't, and it bounces into the right corner. Waugh is after it. He runs into St. Croix. Sevigny looking to knock the loose puck out from their skates. Sevigny worked over by McLean. 39 seconds to go in the period. Now it comes free to Steve Bégin. Bégin 2-on-2 with Clark. Bégin brings it over the Quebec line, drops it off for Clark. Clark plays it in front. It skips past McLean into the corner. McLean hustles after it. Sevigny moves it ahead. Bégin takes DeLille out of the play. McLean drags Sevigny down. Waugh has it and shoots it into the St. John end. 15 seconds in the period. Bégin moves it to the line, not out, and he hammered Sevigny to the ice. Scoville behind the goal. Rocky Thompson controls. 8 seconds in the period, and he'll calmly flip it to the Quebec line. Robida controlling, giving it to Francois Groslo. Groslo moving it ahead to DeLille as the opening period comes to a close. It may be 1-1, but the Flames have to feel pretty good about their play.
Yeah, I think so. They dominated the period. A little bit of lapse when Bashkarov did score that goal, and a pretty darn good play by Jason Ward. But 15-6 in shots. Flames coming out getting the first goal. Very, very good job by Rico Fata, and they've had their chances. Daniel Tkachuk, as you mentioned earlier, robbed by Matthew Guerin, who's faced a lot of rubber this period, and as we talked about earlier, flip-flopped around, but he looks pretty sharp here tonight. Matthew Guerin can be the difference in a hockey game, and it looks like he's bouncing back after subpar performances in his last 5 games. But overall, St. John Flames, a good period. Rick Vaive has to be happy, and looks good for the Flames, who haven't, as we talked about earlier, haven't played very well at home lately.
And a lot of anticipation and excitement surrounding this game, but Chris Lee not getting caught up in that. He did a great job letting them play.
Yeah, he did a very good job. We've been very, very critical of the refereeing, of the officiating overall in the AHL, and as you mentioned, Dave Andrews commented on that earlier, but overall, Chris Lee's done a very good job all year, and once again, expecting nothing less from Chris Lee. A good job here in the first period tonight.
1-1 after 1. Barry and Jim will be along for those of you watching Primetime Sports on TVNB. Vito's presents Unsportsmanlike Conduct with Bill Donovan. That's coming up next on Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94.
Participation, finding solutions. Rosella's challenge, finding time for her daughter Letitia.
As a single parent, I think one of the toughest things is whether or not the relationship that you have with your child is as concrete or as solid as you think that it is. Physical activity is one of the ways in which we have so much fun together.
Rosella got some great ideas from Canada's Physical Activity Guide.
What it says to me is get up off your duff and go for a walk. People get to see, how should I block in physical activity in my life? When we're out playing, we're interacting and laughing and having a great time. I think it cements the relationship.
The guide will help you make wise choices about physical activity. For your free copy of Canada's Physical Activity Guide, call 1-888-334-9769. Participation says, try it.
About a year ago, Michael started complaining of nausea, fatigue, and blurred vision. Fortunately, he complained to the right person, his doctor. Diagnosing his diabetes wasn't difficult, but controlling it meant changing his lifestyle. Now he gets plenty of exercise and eats a proper diet. Today, he's feeling better and has taken inches off his waistline. More important, he's added years to his life. Diabetes, catch it early before it takes years off yours.
In a world racked by violence, children are the most innocent victims. A young student is disappeared. A 4-year-old girl is beaten by soldiers. In some countries, homeless children are murdered by police. Without Amnesty International, we may not see the crimes governments commit against their own people. Children's rights are human rights. Join Amnesty International. Keep the light on human rights. Call 1-800-AMNESTY.
This is TVNB, the New Brunswick channel.
Monsieur de Champlain, when I finish paddling through this wilderness and reach China, I shall greet them wearing this.
Monsieur Nicolet, your mission shall be for the honor of the king and the Holy Faith.
In the summer of 1634, Jean Nicolet set off from Quebec to find a trade route that would link Europe and North America with China.
Where is it?
Further. I know the place you are seeking.
For months, Nicolet pushed through the wilderness, searching for the Western Sea.
Goja! Mississippi!
What did he say?
He said, Mississippi, great water.
Mississippi, the sea, China.
Jean Nicolet was wrong. It was Lake Michigan, not the Pacific. But others would follow his dream. Joliet, La Salle, the La Vérendrye, and they would map most of North America from the Rockies to the Gulf of Mexico.
So, after one period of play here at Harbour Station between the St. John Flames and the Quebec Citadels, it's a score of 1-1. Earlier this week, we had a chance to talk to Daniel Tkachuk of the St. John Flames, who was having a rather great season in the minors, who was really looking forward to getting up to Calgary. But for now, he has to hone down some skills and prepare himself for Calgary, and that's what Calgary really wants him to do right now. So we'll go to that interview with Daniel Tkachuk right now.
Daniel, you started the season with Dom Kelly and St. Louis as line mates. They're gone up to the show now. Are you missing them?
I'm missing them a little bit, but we have capable players on this team, and I'll just try to play the best I can no matter who I'm playing with, and just keep things simple and just do the best with whoever you're playing with. Martin, St. Louis, and Nat, we're great offensive players, but so are the rest of everybody on this team.
For the fans that aren't necessarily in St. John watching you play, when you're playing well, what does Daniel Tkachuk do well?
Well, I think I'm a playmaker and I can carry the puck well and create offensive chances, and I'm competing and just finding a way to get all the loose pucks. I think when I'm playing well, that's what I'm doing best, and I think when I'm playing well, I'm also doing the little things right, like winning face-offs and picking up my men and finishing checks. I think that when I'm on my game, I seem to do all those little things right as well.
Pressure of being a first-round pick, 6th overall, does that play in your mind a little bit when you're trying to perform as a rookie at the pro level?
Not exactly. You just it doesn't really matter where you're drafted at this stage in the game. It doesn't matter if you're a walk-on or you're a 9th-round pick or a 1st-round pick. Once you're on the ice, it doesn't really matter. So you just have to go in and compete, and you have to realize that to get to the next level, you have to work hard, and you have to do everything you can to get there. And it really doesn't make a difference how high you're drafted. You have to stick to a similar game plan to get there.
Daniel, Al mentioned earlier Dom Kelly and Martin St. Louis getting called to Calgary. They say that when players get called up, it makes everyone try that much harder on the farm. How true is that for you?
Well, it's very true because you can see that it could happen to anybody. Those guys worked hard and they were doing really well and they were producing down here, and I think the Flames saw that and they called them up. So you realize, hey, if I can do that down here and with a similar result, maybe I'll get called up. And you have to keep that in mind, and obviously those guys were helping me out in a way, so now I have to realize that maybe the Flames want to see me do a little bit more on my own without those guys' help.
So after one period of play, the St. John Flames and the Quebec Citadels are deadlocked at 1 here at Harbour Station in St. John, New Brunswick. Coming up very shortly, Jim Hennessy will be joining me. We'll give you a rundown of the first period. It was a rather quiet first period, but stay tuned right after this break and we'll be coming right back and give you a summary of the first period. Welcome back to Harbour Station here in St. John, New Brunswick, for AHL hockey action between the Quebec Citadels and the hometown St. John Flames. Jim, a rather, I guess you could say, a lackluster first period here tonight, but things really got rolling midway to the end of the first period.
Yeah, I thought both these teams would come out crashing and banging, but it was the exact opposite. They were feeling each other out, trying to figure out what game plan Rick Vive had, and of course what Michel Therrien had. Matthew Garon, I mean, what a period. The Flames easily could be leading this game after 20 minutes, 4-1, 3-1, but he stood on his head, got outshot 15-6, so I'm sure Therrien is in there tearing the strip off somebody right now. Rocky Thompson, yeah, looked a little weak on the defense. I don't know whether I'd keep him on the blue line for the whole 60 minutes, but might Rick Vive changing the lineup up a little bit, trying to shake things up. Flames are on a 2-game winning streak, trying to make it 3, and so far, it looks like a pretty good hockey game.
Not too bad of a hockey game for sure, Jim. And like you say, Rocky Thompson really shaky back there in defense. Got burned on the first goal, little head fake. Rocky fell for it, and therefore the team went down 1 goal. But that only tied things up, so it's still a rather close game. The Flames are out shooting the Citadels. Get this, 15-6. So obviously Garon's been very busy down the other end. Giguere, 1 shot, 1 goal. Seems to be a calling for him. He seems to be always 1 shot, 1 goal every time.
Well, no question. You can't blame Thompson for letting in that lone goal. That was a weak shot. Giguere should have had that if he had covered it up, but a little confusion there. Like you said, Thompson got head faked and he lost the player. Then the puck got lost and Giguere tried to jump on it. Zigged when he should have zagged. So the game's tied at 1, but I mean, good crowd on hand. Chris Lee doing a good job. Ross A. native. This crowd seems fairly satisfied with the job he's doing so far, but he's still got 40 minutes left to call, so we'll see what happens. A couple of close calls out there that maybe looked the other way and didn't blow the whistle, but we'll wait and see what happens in the second period.
Scoring for the Flames was Rico Fata at 2:30 of the first period, and getting Quebec on the board was Andrei Baskarov at 5:06. So 2 quick goals and things kind of settled down after that, but the Flames, I think they only had to clean one end of the ice here tonight.
Yeah, no question about it. And I mean, you know, it was like we were saying when Fata scored that goal, you could just hear Don Cherry's voice ringing in your head. Follow up on the shot, kid. Follow up on the shot. That's exactly what Rico Fata did. Didn't turn and walk away from the puck like most of them do, heading to the corner, head back up the other way. Fata stayed with it the whole way. Garon thought he had him beat. Not the case. Second shot, great opportunity. Fata got the goal. He looks sharp, boys. I'm telling you right now, it won't be long, in my point of view. Calgary will come calling before Christmas to bring that kid up.
The Flames are really playing short man on the defense tonight. Obviously with Rocky Thompson playing back. They're missing Matt Odette, which is a key cog, obviously right there, a big force out there. He was instrumental, I guess you could say, in the melee that they had the first of the season up in Quebec when Morissette sucker punched him in the face. And also Morissette is not dressed here tonight too, so we're going to try and find out why he's not dressed. Either he's in Montreal or an injury, so we're not sure yet tonight. Not a whole lot of rough stuff going on here tonight, but I think if anything does break out, these guys can handle themselves quite nicely.
Well, I mean, you look at the Quebec lineup and you look at the standings, and I mean, they lead the Flames by 6 points, and you shake your head and you think, with everything that's happened in Montreal, all the call-ups they've had, Michel Therrien has got to be, so far, early in the season, in the running for Coach of the Year. I mean, the job he's done behind the bench, and especially when you move a franchise, the boys are a little discombobulated, trying to get used to the area. The main concern is trying to get the fans into Le Colisée de Pepsi, and of course they're not doing that right now. Very weak crowds up there. But no question about it, if they were to ask me tomorrow who gets Coach of the Year, got to be Michel Therrien for the job he's done up there.
Well, obviously, if some fans in St. John could be watching this tonight, they wouldn't like your pick for sure, because they would say Rick Vaive right now, because I think he's doing a great job as a one-man crew down there. And obviously with Tommy Watt hanging around and doing some player development, I guess you could say, and helping Vaive out. He sits up top in the press row and kind of notices who's doing good, who's not doing so good, and helps Vaive out in that way. So he is kind of the assistant coach, but he's just not on the bench.
Yeah, well, no question. I mean, Rick Vaive's done a good job, and they're in another situation with the Calgary organization, with the parent club getting out to such a slow start that they had to deal with a lot of call-ups. Lost the leading scorer in the league, Martin St. Louis. Nat Don McKelly, a big missing Matt Odette. I mean, you mentioned the injuries, you mentioned the call-ups. Yeah, Rick Vaive's in there as well, but Montreal has been decimated a lot harder than Calgary has this year. Calgary just made some bad choices in their lineups, starting Grant Fuhrer every night, put a lot of money behind him, so they got to start him, but big mistake. Now they're starting, to pull him out, letting the other boys play. Martin St. Louis getting his ice time up there. Calgary's falling together. Montreal, yeah, they're on a bit of a winning streak, 3 games up atop, but I'm telling you, if they ask me to vote tomorrow, I'm sorry, Rick Vaive close second, Therrien first place.
Obviously, everybody's heard about Aaron Downey this week colliding with his own player and getting a stick into the thigh area, and possibly, I would say, probably the femoral artery, which is why he bled so much on the ice. He's lucky, folks, to be alive right now, and my medical experience tells me that one right away. So I guess he was laying in a pool of blood. I hate to really get too graphic here, but on the ice. But they did get it covered up and stopped the bleeding a little bit, controlled it, stitched him up. He was released, I believe, a day later. So great job by the doctors, but that's very scary.
Well, a big round of applause, like you said, goes out to the trainers and the doctors. I mean, the only medical background I have is my wife's becoming a nurse, so that's all I know. But when I hear somebody's cut an artery, you know it's bad. And I mean, you remember a couple of years ago, the goaltender, Clint Malarchuk, when he got his throat slashed, they said they hit an artery, and if you'll remember, how much blood was on the ice. We don't want to get too graphic again, like you said, but cut an artery, you're talking about a serious injury. It doesn't take too long for the blood to run and for a chance for you to die. So heads up, a great round of applause to the trainers, the doctors. I mean, scary situation, but he's going to be all right, and hopefully he'll be back in the lineup soon.
Obviously, we've seen a lot of hits in this game called hockey, but it seems like the worst hits is when you collide with your own teammate. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of that, and I mean, that's just a lot of miscommunication. You tell the boys, get out there, keep your head up, don't get caught in the trolley tracks. Make sure you're out there and scream a little bit. Let him know if he's got his head down and your wingman's not keeping up with you, and scream out and let him know, hey, listen, man, you're lagging behind. Get caught up here. Thing that amazes me when I look at this Flames lineup is Martin St. Louis, they miss him, no question, for his speed and his ability, but Rico Fata, man, that guy's got a set of wheels on him, and his head, the thing that they were knocking at the start when he came down was that he didn't have any ice presence, but you look at now, 20, 25 games into the season, this kid knows where the puck's at, and he's on top of it constantly.
Well, that aims on the 6-1 win over Providence. I think that really took the wind out of Providence's sail that night with Downey going out with such an injury. So, but like you say, you and I were talking in the first period about how Quebec's East Coast affiliate must be one powerhouse down there, because to send these players up and what Quebec is doing right now with their star players is just amazing right now. And same with the Flames. I mean, this shows how much depth the Flames have here. And the big note we noticed here tonight was McLean.
Yeah,
he won a one-on-one battle behind the net. I know you folks seen it. Behind the net, he kept going and going. And I bet you his legs felt like rubber after that 30-second shift.
Well, it's like Rick Vaive's always said since he came here last season, you've got to win those small battles to be able to win the war. And I mean, McLean, they must be kicking themselves in the butt at this point for sending them back down, because, I mean, there's a player, like you said, who's out there in the corners, working hard, grinding, trying to get that puck and free it up and send it out front. But missed opportunities is the call for the St. John Flames in that first 20 minutes. This score could easily be 4-1. They could be running away with it.
Well, obviously, they could have been running away with it. The score is only 1-1 here at Harbor Station as we get ready for second period action between the Quebec Citadels and the St. John Flames. Here we go now to Aaron Kennedy and Steve Ryan.
Each team with a goal in the first period. Rico Fata, his 8th of the season from Lee Sorokin, opening the scoring for St. John at the 2:30 mark. And then Andrei Bashkarov evened the score at 5:06 with his 8th from Jason Ward and an added assist, Jason McBain. The shot, St. John with 15, Quebec with 6. The second period is underway at Harbor Station. Aaron Kennedy and Steve Ryan, glad to have you with us. Flames from right to left. Clark moves it into the Quebec zone. It's knocked down with a high stick by Stéphane Robida, and play is stopped just 11 seconds in. There were 2 minor penalties in that first period, 1 to each team. Christian Caron of Quebec boarding at 9:15. Brett McLean of St. John obstruction hooking at 14:22. A good first period for St. John. They probably deserved a 4 or 5 goal lead.
Yeah, absolutely, and they swarmed the net a bunch of times. Caron making a couple of big saves. But it's good to see that the Flames are going on the offense. They're not laying back, and they're going to have to do more of that here in the second period. The Quebec Citadel team, there is a reason they're in first place. They're very good on the defense, and Garon looks like he's sharp tonight.
Puck is shoveled in behind the Quebec net. It's played ahead. Boyd Olsen comes up with it. Rocky Thompson forces it off of his stick. Brett McLean then knocks Olsen down. Back of the net for Chris Clark. Clark controlling on the right side, moving it from McLean. McLean puts on the brakes, tries to set it up in front. It comes to Clark, shot. Garon got a piece of it. Clark in behind the net, looking in front. Clark turning, can't shoot. Now loses the puck, and Waugh will play it to the line, not out. Thompson keeps it in, moving it behind the net. McLean is after it. McLean tied up by Grollo, centers it. Bégin forced back in behind the net. Olsen knocks it off of his stick. Bégin grabs a hold of him and throws him to the ice as the puck is played all the way down into St. John real estate. Giguère backhands it off the glass. Clark is back to pick it up with a minute gone in the second period. Clark moves it out to center. Harris ran into him, and Clark muscles him to the ice. Robida back in his own end has it for the Citadels, giving it to Nasruddin, a rink wide for Stéphane Waugh. He'll backhand it out. Flames are making changes. Fata gives it to Daniel Tkachuk. Back to Fata. They were teammates for Canada's World Junior team. Fata controlling, centering it. Tkachuk can't come up with it. Robida in the corner tried to knock it away from Tkachuk. Now Fata has it in the right circle. Shot, glove saved by Garon, and he will eventually decide to get a whistle. Looked like he wanted to drop it, but he'll hang on with 1:31 gone in the second period. 1-1 is the score.
Good job by Rico Fata getting that quick release, and he's got it. He's got the great wheels, but the guy can score some goals, and he had a good shot. And Garon reaching out that big right mitt, making the save, and as you mentioned, Aaron, deciding to hold on, face off to his left.
Rico Fata has played well of late, wearing number 96 for St. John. Had an assist in the win over Hartford. Had 2 goals here in the 7-4 loss to Cincinnati on November the 19th. Defensively, it's still a bit of a struggle for the rookie. He is a -6. Only Matt Odette is worse in St. John's lineup. He's -7.
Well, I think Rico Fata's offense hurts him on defense, and really the guy gets caught up the ice quite a bit. Great wheels, and once again, you have to take care of your own end, and he'll learn that in time.
From the face-off, the Flames have it. Sorokin with a shot. That one's caught by Garon. And again, he'll hang on. He can't just simply hold on to the puck and stand still. He has to move around as if he's going to toss it to the ice.
Yeah, give credit to the Flames. Why Garon is doing that. They're right on him. Those shots from the point, they're in there very, very quickly. And we talked about in the first period, I'm very impressed with the Flames play down low lately. They've still got a good transition game. Pretty talented defensemen on this hockey team. Talk about Sorokin and Daryl Scoville, Eric Chiron. Guys can get the puck up the ice very, very quickly. It gives the Flames a pretty good transition game. These guys can also rush it themselves. But down low is where they have problems at the first of the year, playing tough in the corners, and they're doing that a lot better as of late.
From the face-off, Chris St. Croix with a shot, and that one stopped by Matthew Garon. Chris St. Croix's mother is in attendance this weekend, looking out to see if her son can score his first professional goal. He had a good shot there right off the face-off, but Garon was out and made the save as he cut down the angle. The scratches tonight, incidentally, for Quebec, Byron Brisky is out with a shoulder injury. Jesse Belanger is all messed up, fractured his collarbone and separated his shoulder. He'll be out 2 to 3 months. Dave Morissette is still sidelined with a separated shoulder. He's been out over a month. For St. John, Matt Odette is concussed. That's my new verb. Ronald Petrovicki has a broken finger. Travis Brigley is out with the flu. Frederick Oduya is missing his 5th consecutive game with a bad back. I think if you can go to the Olympic Games and win a medal, they say that you've medaled. So if you suffer a concussion, you're concussed.
You're concussed?
It's my new
Just
verb.
wrote that one down.
Here's Greton playing it to the front of the Quebec net. It's picked up and backhanded out by Stéphane Waugh. Jonathan DeLille backhands it into St. John territory. Giguère meanders out, backhands it behind the net. It's picked up there by Sevigny. He knocks St. Croix down. Greton has the puck, can't play it away. In behind the goal, DeLille centers it, shot! Stopped by Giguère as he denied Stéphane Waugh from point-blank range. Waugh falls in the corner. Sevigny works it in front. DeLille chops it back in behind the net. Sevigny loses it, and it's picked up and brought up the left wing by Jeff Cowan. Cowan's hooked by Waugh. He gets it over the line, gets it for Greton, moving down low on the left side. Greton in behind the net, maintains possession, moving in. Staples shot blocked by Waugh, and it's picked up and brought the other way by Pierre Sevigny. Roach just off the bench, controlling for St. John over the line. Shot, pad save, rebound was there, chopped away by Nazardine as Varlamov was charging in. Greton moves it for Roach. Now Fata in front. Roach, one-timer. Big save by Guérin, who covers up.
Good job by Rico Fata keeping the puck in, sliding it over to Dave Roach, who's got a very good heavy shot, but once again, good positioning by Matthew Guérin, who was right flush in the middle of the net, had some a good angle on it also, but he stymies Dave Roach, who once again had a pretty good scoring chance. Flames are getting their chances, 21-7 the shots so far. They are dominating the play here tonight.
Roach with the big slap shot, and the rebound was there earlier, and it was chopped away by Nazardine. One final from the NHL this afternoon, LA over San Jose, 4-1. The Vanier Cup this afternoon, St. Mary's fell 14-10 to the Laval Rouge et Or, not to be confused with the Laval Red and Gold.
Good job by Laval, only I think the 5th year with the football program. Very, very big win over St. Mary's this afternoon.
Daniel Tkachuk loses the puck at the Quebec line, and it's played ahead by Gennady Razin. Caron leaves it at center for Joel Theriault. He'll shoot it in. Theriault charges after. Giguère leaves it behind the net for Staples. Staples fires it all the way down. This will go for an icing. 3.5 minutes gone in the second period. The game is tied at 1. Aaron Kennedy and Steve Ryan at Harbor Station. Barry Johnson and Jim Hennessy are here as well. Your intermission hosts on Primetime Sports. Glad to have you with us. A special hello to those of you tuning in tonight on TVNB. First broadcast of the season from Harbor Station. Pretty good game so far. The Flames really controlling things territorially, but they're stuck in a 1-1 tie.
You got the Citadels this year. Of course, we talked about being in first place. They've got some carry orders from the Fredericton Canadians last year. Gennady Radin, Darcy Harris, Mark Bocage, Robida. They lost Bouillon. He is up with Montreal with their plethora of injuries. And here they've lost Scott Thornton now. That team has just been decimated by injuries. And although they are on a winning streak, and Jose Theodore getting some big ice time for them.
McLean down the left wing with a shot caught by Guérin after he does his little dance. There will be a stoppage, as there generally is. 16-19 remaining here. Talk about Francis Bouillon. There aren't very many people who like Michel Therrien, as Brad Janes intimated this morning.
Yep, why would they?
But Francis Bouillon is not one of those people. He says that Michel Therrien is like a father to him. He played for him in junior, played for him in Fredericton, and he gives him a lot of the credit for getting him to the National Hockey League.
Well, Francis Bouillon is on a fast track, and I've seen him play a bunch of games, and I saw Eric Lindros platinum one night, but boy, you have to give the guy credit. He has really made improvements in his game, and give him credit. He backs down from nobody, and you're right, he credits Michel Therrien to his increase in confidence and everything as far as his career has gone lately.
He says that hit from Lindros really woke him up and showed him what he has to do to play in the NHL. Here's Bocage moving in, dropping it off. Olsen backhand, stopped by Giguère, and the rebound bounces in behind the goal. Olsen has it there, tied up by McLean. Puck centered. Harris is denied by Giguère's left pad, and the puck is played ahead down the right wing. Clark hustling after it. Clark moving in, and it's knocked away by Robida. Bégin, the trailer, plays it in front of the Quebec net. Clark and Robida wrestling in the corner as Boyd Olsen brings it up through center. Olsen tripped by St. Croix, and that forces the Citadels to go offside at the St. John line. It's 1-1, and this is Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94.
Each home game, Jim and Patty will perform one offending spouse with a seat at Cougars Doghouse, which is located tonight's level at the west end of Harbor Station. Tonight, we welcome Justin Cameron and friends. It seems Justin was out a short time ago with all intentions of buying
21-9 are the shots in favor of St. John, and in this case, the shots are indicative of the play. McCleary down the right side, in front, they score! Bash Bashkarov on the redirection with his second goal of the game, and Quebec has a 2-1 lead.
Well, good job by Trent McCleary getting the puck to Bashkarov, but actually what you have to do, you have to tie up a guy that's going to the net that hard. Quebec Citadel's in possession of the puck, and that's just an automatic. If you aren't on the puck, tie up your man, and it wasn't done. And a good pass by Trent McCleary to Bashkarov, and he's got his second, and that's a big goal for Quebec. They're being outplayed. They scored when it counted.
And both Quebec goals have
thing.
come passes from the right wing boards in front to Bashkarov for redirections.
Absolutely. Good job by Bashkarov with heading to the net. The guy can put the puck in the net, as he's shown. Bad St. John defense right there.
He showed it when he was in the International League, that's for sure. Now the Citadels with life as they go offside at the St. John line. It's Bashkarov, his second of the game, 9th of the season from McCleary at 4:32. So just like that, Quebec, although being outplayed, has a 2-1 advantage.
It's the same thing, somewhat reminiscent of the game last week against Cincinnati. Flames really dominating the play, and Cincinnati just kept pecking away, taking their chances when they had to, and really coming out on the end of a big overtime win. But Flames really can't let this get them down. They have to regroup and keep doing what they're doing for the most part, playing pretty good offense, and defense should take care of itself.
Scoville plays it behind his own net. St. Croix moves it on the right side for Varlamov. He'll flip it ahead. Skating after it into the left corner deep in the Quebec zone is Cowan. He runs into Grollo. Grollo plays it towards the net. Garon will catch it, and this time he does discard it, and it's DeLille moving up the left wing. He's hooked and held by Cowan. They run into the linesman Christian as the puck is played in deep. Varlamov back behind his own net, wheels away from DeLille, had the puck poked off his stick. St. Croix forces it back in behind the net. Scoville comes up with it. Flames from right to left, now trailing 2-1. First time Quebec has led in the game. Walk. Can't come up with it. Benoit Gratton brings it down the left wing. Gratton puts his head down, gains the line. Gratton moving in, knocked down by Grollo. Gratton back on his skates, runs into his teammate Varlamov behind the net. Now Gratton tied up in the corner by Grollo. Varlamov and Gratton trying to work it off the boards. Grollo is there. Knocks Gratton into the boards. Varlamov from behind the net. Varlamov tries to get away from Waugh. Varlamov eventually does. Varlamov can't find anywhere to go. Now to the top of the circle with some open ice. Flips it in front. It skips to the corner. Jonathan DeLille will come up with it for Quebec. DeLille runs into Varlamov at the line. Waugh moves it out to Sevigny. Sevigny stripped by Staples, and Sorokin has it for St. John. Sorokin ahead for Fata. Broken up. Sorokin has to hustle to take it away from Bashkarov. He backhands it ahead for Fata. Tkachuk overskates. Now he has it. Tkachuk moves it on the left wing. Roach over the line with a shot. Toe save. Rebound poked away by Garon. And there'll be a whistle as the net was knocked off its moorings behind the Quebec netminder. 13:38 remaining in the second period. 2-1 Citadels. You're listening to Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94.
January 16th and 17th. You can also catch your All-Star vote online at www.theahl.com or at participating Dodge dealers. By casting your Dodge 2000 All-Star Classic fan ballot, you're eligible to win fabulous prizes, including a trip pursuit to the 2000 All-Star Classic, a game one of our All-Star jersey signed by All-Star from the Flames, an All-Star team.
Garon showing great confidence tonight after making the toe save on the shot from Roach. He lunges to poke it away from the hard-charging Tkachuk and Fata.
Yeah, that save was tougher than it looked. He was moving the other way and had to really stretch back with the toe, as you mentioned, to get that save.
Darcy Harris, PEI product, can't clear the zone. Staples with a long shot, caught by Garon, who hangs on. Speaking of PEI products, Dave Cameron has been named assistant coach of the St. John's Maple Leafs, replacing Greg Smith, who resigned in disgrace earlier in the season. Dave Cameron, a PEI native, played one game for St. John, the Flames, back in the 1994-95 season in Charlottetown, when Bobby Francis's troops were decimated by injuries and call-ups. Cameron played 168 games in the NHL with Colorado and New Jersey. He's now the assistant to Al McAdam on the Rock. We'll see him Tuesday and Wednesday. Thompson moves it behind the Quebec net. McLean unable to accept the pass. Clark hit on the boards by Caron, and it's Harris playing it out to center. Desjardins takes Olsen out of the play. Charon back in behind the St. John goal. He has it. Flames skate from right to left, trailing 2-1 with 13 minutes remaining in the second period. It's played all the way down. This will be an icing as Stefan Robida got there just ahead of Chris Clark, and now Desjardins has some words for Alain Azradine. 2-1 Quebec leading. Andrei Bashkarov has both goals for the Citadels. His 8th and 9th of the season. Rico Fata has replied for the Flames.
Well, certainly something we were hoping not to see a repeat of, but right now, as it stands, Quebec up 2-1. The Flames having their troubles here at home again. You know, so strong, so good on the road against a team like Providence on Wednesday evening, and then going in to play the Hartford Wolfpack and coming out with a 3-2 win. The second goal, of course, Hartford, as you mentioned on the air, Aaron, disputed goal off the crossbar, looked like, but the Flames playing a very strong game, and Jaguar playing very, very well on the road. You know, 10 shots on goal so far, 2 goals, almost similar goals from Bashkarov. Back in the lead.
From the face-off in St. John territory, puck bounces in behind the net. Sorokin slaps it away from Bashkarov. Cowan turns and moves it ahead for Varlamov down the left wing. Varlamov over the line, centers it for Greton. Greton gives it to Cowan, moving in. Cowan in front, backhanded it through the crease. Shot by Staples, he ripped it wide. Poked into the corner by Garon. Varlamov's after it, plays it back of the net for Benoit Greton. Greton held up by McCleary. Puck comes to the point, and it's picked up by Jason Ward. Here he comes, 2-on-1 with McCleary. Ward down the left side, drops it off. McBain moving in. He overskates and the Flames transition quickly. Cowan pokes it to center. Greton can't come up with it. Razin sweeps it on the left side. Andrei Bashkarov over the St. John blue line. Bashkarov down the left wing in front. McBain shot! Blocked by Staples. Picked up by Greton. Here come the Flames on a 3-on-2. They're near the end of a shift. Cowan down the left wing. Shot! Blocked! Cowan picks it up, moves it in behind the goal. Greton is there. Benoit Greton had it chopped away by Bocage. Greton now gets it on the left wing boards. Varlamov is after it. He's held up by McBain. McBain forces it ahead. Roach gets it to Scoville, who holds in. Scoville plays it for St. Croix, but it skips out of the zone to center. St. Croix across for Roach. Flames looking to make changes. Roach drives it in. Garon catches it and drops it for Razin. Out to center for Bashkarov. He's hooked down by Roach. There'll be a St. John penalty. Booking against Roach at 8:22.
Well, a dangerous situation arose there, and really at the end of a shift, if you make that 3-on-2 rush and you are tired, you're really susceptible to the other team turning in a transition game. As it turned out, the Flames lucked out, got away with it, but it's a dangerous play, and the forwards on the bench have to be alert of that and aware. The Flames just really running a steam on that little shift. Quebec going on the power play here. We've talked about really what they have been able to do on the power play. They're 12th overall, and the Flames on the penalty killing, we've mentioned that before, they're 18th, but getting a lot better. They've killed off one tonight already, and really getting it together on the penalty kill. Rick Vive said in his pregame show the other night that your best penalty killer should be your goaltender, so we'll see how Jaguar stands up here.
Booking is the call against Roach at 8:22. 22-10 are the shots favoring St. John. The score favors Quebec. It's 2-1. Sevigny, DeLille, and Waugh are up front with Groslo and Robida the point men. Charon, Scoville, McLean, and Clark the penalty killers. It's DeLille, right corner in the St. John zone, dropping it off for Sevigny to the point. Groslo with a shot. That one sails off the end glass. Robida will keep it alive, but he played it right to Clark, who shovels it down ice. Groslo hustling back after it. Groslo played the better parts of 2 seasons with St. John, also played in Fredericton. Groslo ahead for DeLille, broken up by Bégin. Robida fires it in. Jaguar out behind the net, unable to stop it. It's Waugh on the right side, losing it to Bégin. He'll turn, fires it right into Groslo's midsection. He keeps it in. Picked up on the right side by Jonathan DeLille. 45 seconds gone in the power play. Sevigny to the point. Groslo across. Robida shot. That one goes high into the air and into the seats. Stefan Robida with the shot there. Robida is an interesting guy. He's an offensive-minded defenseman and very durable, having missed just 1 game in each of the last 2 seasons. A total of 72 points in 2 full seasons with Fredericton, which is pretty impressive for a defenseman. But Robida has gone 11 games without a goal.
Yeah, he's a tough little fire plug. The guy, they list him at 5'10", 180 pounds. Plays very, very tough. Montreal's 7'6", 164th overall in the 1995 draft. And this guy had a very, very good year last year. I was impressed with him throughout the year. Some injuries that that team had. This guy always came to play every night.
McBain moves it for Bashkarov, top of the right circle. Andrei Bashkarov, a minute to go in the power play. Right goal line, Ward. Hit by Sorokin. Staples turns and tries to clear. Bashkarov knocks it down. Sends it to the left point. Alan Azradine gives it to McBain. For Bashkarov in the right circle. Back to McBain. Shot tipped in front. Jaguar the save. Rebound. Cleared all the way by Sorokin. Garon will feed it ahead for Nasreddin. Citadel's from left to right, leading 2-1. Varlamov breaks it up at the St. John line. Sorokin has it, and he'll fire it in deep. Garon will venture out behind the net and shoot it away from Benoit Breton. Nasreddin turns it up ice. Nasreddin moves it on the left side. McCleary takes a hip check from Varlamov. Puck bounces behind the St. John goal. Scoville shoots it ahead. Breton gets it past McBain and out to center. Nasreddin back in his own end. Moves it ahead for Jason Ward. Ward scored 2 goals in Quebec's 4-2 win over Albany on Wednesday. Puck went out of play, and we get a stoppage. 2 seconds remaining in the penalty. 9:41 left in the period. 2-1 Quebec on top. Ward was very good last year when he joined Fredericton at the end of his junior season. Played in 10 Calder Cup playoff games. 4 goals and 2 assists. I mentioned earlier, first round pick. Montreal took him 11th overall in 1997.
Yeah, the guy's very good, and he's got good size, very, very good wheels. He's 6'2", 193. As you mentioned, he was a first-round draft pick, and Montreal expects some good things out of this guy, and you'll probably see some more time in Montreal. Once again, with they're just falling left and right and center in Montreal. Lots of injuries there, and that team has really, really had its struggles this year.
Team's at full strength. Thompson plays it ahead. Bocage knocks it down, then gave it away to Rico Fata. He'll start a 3-on-2 with Roach and Charon. Fata scampering down the right side. Fata moves in behind the net, still has the puck, stops sharply in the corner, loses it momentarily, tries to get it back. He's held up by Grollo. It's chopped ahead by Caron as he got flattened by Thompson. Charon out at center. Backhands it ahead. Grollo back in his own end. Has it for the Citadels. Just over 9 minutes to play in the period. Charon working over Olsen in the neutral zone. Thompson moves it ahead. Grollo sends it to the St. John line. Eric Charon is there. Can't clear the zone. Olsen down low. Charon gets it back. Moves it for Kachuk. He'll force it ahead to Fata. Fata gets it to the line and out as Robida plays it back in. It's an offside. Don't forget, at all Flames home games, if you catch a puck that sails into the seats, take it to customer service section T. They'll have it autographed by the Flame of your choice, and Loomis Courier will deliver it free of charge. It's the Loomis Courier puck delivery, courtesy of Loomis Courier at all Flames home games.
The Flames penalty kill pretty good again, and here's the key. They were so bad earlier, but I think it started the other night in Hartford. These guys really aren't taking any penalties, and that's the key, really. The foolish penalties that this team took throughout the year, especially early in the year, have to stay away from them, have to be a lot more disciplined, especially in your home rink.
Hartford only had 1 power play on Thursday. It was the first time the Flames had allowed fewer than 5 power play opportunities in a game. It's a dramatic decline. Here's Sorokin moving into the Quebec zone, and his shot ends up in the seats in section F with an even 8.5 minutes remaining in period number 2, and Quebec leading 2-1.
Well, that's a good point about the Hartford game the other night, and we talked about how a team has to play on the road. You have to buzz, you have to play aggressive. Certainly you don't want to take any penalties, and it showed that the Flames were really in sync the other night, only taking the 1 penalty, and coming out of Hartford with that big 3-2 win. Sure, they got some good goaltending. The team overall, a very, very strong game.
Face off a few feet inside the Quebec line. McLean beats McCleary on the draw. Staples has the puck. He throws it on net, and Garon makes a routine stop, covering up his 23rd save of the night. Quebec leading 2-1, and perhaps the frustration is starting to mount. St. John played so well in the first period, but they left and went to the dressing room tied at 1.
Well, they can't get away from their game plan either, and that's play the puck down low. We've talked about the transition game. This team has very, very, very good speed. You've got Sergei Varlamov, certainly Clark, Cowan, Rico Fata, of course. You have to use that speed and stick to your game plan. They can try to do that and wear down this Fredericton defense.
Staples has it at the left point inside the Quebec line, moving it in behind the goal. Brett McLean tries to get loose from Bocage. McLean stops sharply in the corner. Now it's Bégin lending a hand, tried to cycle it back from McLean in behind the net. McLean steps in front, scores! These guys need a face cloth at the end of the game because their noses are so dirty after the work down low. Bégin McLean with another tremendous effort, and it's McLean with his 3rd of the season. The game's tied at 2.
Boy, this line has been so good. McLean, what a pleasant surprise as he came up from Johnstown, and really there should be no question. It was a shame he went down. He shouldn't have been there. This guy's worked hard from day one, worked hard in training camp, and he's showing that he doesn't want to go. Played great last week. Good work along the boards. And good work against Mark Bocage. Getting the puck, coming out. Guerin not with the strong poke check, but good job by McLean of going to the far side and tying this game up.
2-2 is the score. McLean with his third. 11:51 is the time. Beijing will likely get the lone assist. Staples gets one as well. So Beijing Staples with the helpers on McLean's third at 11:51. The game is tied at 2. And the persistence pays off.
Oh, big time.
Here's Cowan. Moving it ahead for Scoville. He cuts to the middle, over the line. Scoville coming in on his backhand, switches to the forehand. Shot doesn't get through. Cowan in the corner. Can't find it in his skates. Played off the end boards by McBain. Varlamov can't hold in, and it bounces out to neutral territory. St. Croix gives it to Varlamov. He's over the line, playing it to Greton. Greton cuts to the slot, looks for Cowan. It's broken up, and Grollo starts back. McCleary's dragged down by Greton. Ward going in one-on-one against Scoville. No problem for Scoville. He forces him in behind the net. Puck is poked away by St. Croix. Cowan is after it. Caron got there first, moves it into the corner. St. Croix has a hold of his man Bashkarov. Scoville has the puck for St. John, sending it off the boards, kept in at the left point. Nazardine, slap shot, that one hit Varlamov. Greton can't clear as Ward dives. Now it's Cowan coming up with the feed from Greton, and he'll just dump it into the Quebec zone. Icing is waved off with 6 minutes, 47 seconds remaining in the second period. Deuces are wild, it's 2-2. Robida steps around Roach, tries to get past Tkachuk and does, brings it to the line, fires it into the right corner. Roach is back and he'll chip it out to center. Tkachuk races after it. He has it. Bata going hard to the net. Tkachuk tried to get it to him. Robida is there to steal it, and he'll turn it ahead. Citadel's from left to right. Olsen moving through the neutral zone. Olsen forced back out to center. Now he'll backhand it in. Sharon loses it momentarily. Thompson has it. He spins away from Harris. Sharon sends it for Roach to the line, not out. McBain moving in, shot. Giguère makes the save, and he will cover up. 6:11 remaining in the second period. Coming up during our second intermission, Jim and Barry will be along as your hosts on Primetime Sports on TVNB. For those of you listening to Baxter's Flames Hockey, coming up during our second intermission, it's the Blockbuster movie review. And tonight, Steve Ryan will be reviewing Toy Story. You saw it last night. Just give us the preview before it ends up in Blockbuster.
Great acting. Great acting. Absolutely. What a stretch. I loved Woody. He was my man. Yeah, it was a piece of work.
Actually, the Blockbuster movie review will be Ty Garner and Brett McLean talking about Enemy of the State. Lee Sorokin will chat. He'll drop by for a chat, and Andy will have a sports update, all coming up during our second intermission here on Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94. The faceoff is to Giguère's left. McBain from the draw fires it. It bounces off of Roach out to center. Here's Fata in a foot race, moving down the left side. Tried to cut to the middle, but Razin, who was not very good in the first, made a strong play and knocked it aside. Back the other way, DeLille sends it ahead for Sevigny. Over the line, he drops it for Razin, moving in. Sevigny scores! Great three-way passing play, and Pierre Sevigny finishes it off. He'd gone 5 games without a point, but he's got his 6th goal of the season here, and the Citadels have a 3-2 lead.
Well, Flames, after having a little bit of rush, good transition by the Quebec Citadels, turning the puck up the ice. And as you mentioned, finished off by Sevigny, but good job by DeLille getting the puck over the line, and the pass out in front to Pierre Sevigny, and this guy in front of the net is a no-brainer. He can put the puck in very simply. Good goal scorer, good addition to the Citadels this year, but Flames, after taking that lead, give up one that maybe they shouldn't have. Good job by the Quebec Citadels of getting it in, but once again, 5:52 left here in the second period. You can't be giving up a quick transition like that. Flames not covering their man, and go back into a 3-2 lead.
Pierre Sevigny now has 297 points in his AHL career, just 3 shy of 300. He goes down in the annals of history as the Fredericton Canadiens' all-time leading scorer with 242 points, as there's an icing called against Quebec. But certainly the Flames have kept the scoring chances to a minimum for Quebec, but the problem is Quebec has capitalized on most of its opportunities.
Yeah, they've got some goal scorers, and they threw the puck around very well there, and that's the problem. This team will take advantage of any miscues that you give up, and the Flames getting caught a couple of times on a couple of good passes, both Bashkarov goals. Really, the defense didn't cover Bashkarov. And on there, a good 3-way passing play. DeLille gaining the line. The pass out to Sevigny. And Sevigny in front will not make a mistake. Put it right on net. And Giguère, once again, 13 shots, 3 goals. I'd like to see it.
Olsen flings it into the St. John zone. Staples will come in, and Giguère covers up. The puck was moving towards the net very slowly.
Sure was.
Giguère didn't really react to it. He
That's
just
the point.
let the puck come to him. It's kind of like being a shortstop in baseball. You want to play the puck or the ball in that case and make sure that you're aggressive and come out after it.
Well, it's late in the period, and the ice is a little snowy, but the bottom line is that's a very good point. You've got to come out and get that puck, and you can't be tentative. If you're tentative, you'll make mistakes. And Giguère, maybe a little confidence problem right now. 3 goals once again on the 13 shots.
Breton wins the draw. Staples moves in behind the net. He's checked by McCleary. He gets away from him, sends it off the boards, and it goes all the way down. This will be an icing. Stefan Robida glances over each shoulder as he's back for the touch. 5 minutes, 9 seconds remaining in the second period. It was 1-1 after 1. I think Quebec took the lead on Bashkarov's second of the game, 9th of the season. Flames tied it on McCleary's 3rd of the campaign. Sevigny has given the Citadels the lead once again with his 6th from Razin and DeLille at 14:08. 3-2, Quebec on top. Face off deep in St. John territory to the right of Jean-Sébastien Giguère, who has made just 10 saves tonight, although it's difficult to fault him on any of the 3 goals.
Well, it's not so much the fault, but we've talked about this before also, Aaron. You have to come up with a big save on occasion. And really save percentage is really, everybody looks at that nowadays. Goals against average, yeah, if you've got a good hockey team in front of you, you'll have a good goals against. Save percentage is huge, and his is not right now.
And the biggest save of the game was Matthew Garon on Daniel Tkachuk in the first.
It was.
Staples throws the shoulder into Ward. Cowan tries to get the puck out of the zone and does. Moving it for Varlamov. He steps away from Grollo, gets it to Graton. He plays it into the zone. Graton runs into Stéphane Roy, and the puck is played out to center. Grollo has it now in his own end. Moving it on the right side for Robida. He'll flip it out to center. Staples chops his man Ward to the ice. Staples back in his own zone, gives it to Graton. He flips it ahead. Cowan is after it. Robida can't bounce it past Cowan out to center. It's in behind the Quebec net. Robida gets it to Grollo. Now Ward flips it ahead. Scoville tried to keep it in. Waugh knocked Cowan down as Bashkarov comes down the right side. He cuts to the middle, moves it for Ward, moving in, backhand. Right pad saved by Giguère. Graton on the rebound, moves it for Roach. Cross-ice pass for Varlamov. Varlamov gets past Bashkarov, looks for Roach on the right side. Roach moving into the corner. Roach coming in front, shot it wide into the corner as he was knocked down by McBain. Now McCleary works it out to center. Scoville is there. And he'll play it back into the attacking zone. 3:48 remaining in the period. 3-2 Quebec. Roach from the left side. In behind the net. Tkachuk pursues. Tkachuk knocks Grollo down. Roach has the puck. Roach controlling in behind the goal. Roach looking for someone in front. Tried to play it to Fata. McCleary knocked it away. Bashkarov looks to chop it out. St. Croix holds in. Now Grollo in behind the net. Tkachuk throws his body into him. Roach centers the puck. It's tipped into the corner. Grollo blasts it off the boards, and this will be an icing as Scoville is back to touch up. 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the period. Quebec on top, 3-2. Don't forget, the Flames in Newfoundland Tuesday and Wednesday nights, and we'll have it for you here on Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94, beginning with the Dobson Chrysler Dodge Jeep pregame show each night at 6:45. Then next Friday, the Flames begin a 3-game homestand against Lowell. Next Saturday, Portland is in town, and then the Flames are idle for a week. They'll play Lowell again on December 11th before busing to Quebec to take on the Citadels on December the 12th. Flames only play 7 games in December before Christmas. They play 10 in the entire month.
Portland Pirates keep on rolling. Big win last night at Springfield, 5-3, or in Portland, excuse me.
Shot by Clark, flutters wide. McLean in behind the goal, gets away from Nasruddin. McLean still working it now along the right boards to the point. Thompson shot, doesn't get through. Harris looks to clear. Thompson kept it in. Nasruddin comes up with it, and he'll move it for Darcy Harris. Harris taken out right in front of the St. John bench by Bégin. That allows McLean to gobble up the loose puck. McLean skates away from Olsen. McLean loses the handle. Now he gets it back and shoots it in, but it skips over the glass into the seats. 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining, and the Flames trailing 3-2.
Talking about the Portland Pirates win last night against Springfield. That's a team that's really turned itself around. Glenn Hanlon doing a very, very good job to lead the New England division with 29 points, 24 games played. meaning Hartford and Providence, two pretty good hockey teams, but boy, that has to be the surprise of the year so far in the American Hockey League.
Portland Pirates had Mark Kumpel as a head coach last year, and he was the first to admit that he still has a lot to learn, and he relishes the opportunity to learn from Glenn Hanlon, so he's still in the organization as an assistant coach. It's kind of a precedent-setting move to have someone demoted, which essentially he was at this level, and stay with the team. Staples tried to dump it into the zone, but it skipped right over the glass into the seats in Section C. There'll be a face-off outside the Quebec blue line. 2 minutes, 28 seconds remaining in the second period. Quebec leading 3-2. Jeff Staples has been a huge addition to the St. John Flames. He is certainly not flashy by any stretch of the imagination, and he doesn't get a whole lot of points. That assist tonight was his first point in 7 games, but he's been a plus in 4 of his last 5 games. He's a +4 overall. Brings a lot of veteran leadership to the team. He's a winner, having won the Calder Cup with Philadelphia. Good guy back on the back end.
Yeah, good size 6'2", the veteran from Kitimat, BC. And yeah, he's been a welcome addition to this hockey team. Very good move by the Flames bringing in Jeff Staples this year.
He's only on an AHL contract as well. Can't be recalled by Calgary unless they sign him to an NHL deal. Here's Cowan looking to wrap it around, but he runs into McBain. Puck is loose, picked up by Gratton. He'll cycle it for Cowan. He's pinned against the left wing boards by McBain. Gratton is in there, lending assistance. They'll try to freeze it up. Now Gratton's knocked down by Waugh. Puck is loose. DeLille will flip it to center. Nice play by Sorek in catching that one, or else Sevigny would have been on a breakaway from center ice. Garon leaves it for Grolo behind the Quebec net. He's knocked down by Varlamov. Varlamov controlling, centering. It's loose in the slot. Scoville pinches in, but it's kicked ahead by Waugh, and here comes DeLille down the right side. DeLille angled into the boards by Chris St. Croix. Roach is back, trying to knock it loose along the boards. It comes to Varlamov, and he'll send it down ice. Tkachuk skates after it. Garon will play it away. Out to center, Sevigny brings it over the St. John line on left wing. Sevigny taken out by St. Croix. The puck bounces in behind the net. Ward moves it behind the goal. Roach is there for St. John. Flames from right to left with under a minute to go in the period. Here comes Roach, moving through center. Over the Quebec line, Roach on the right side, forces it in behind the net. Tkachuk is there, Bashkarov plays it away. St. Croix holds in from the point with a shot knocked down by Roach at the side of the net. It's loose, Fata has it now, 40 seconds in the period. Fata looking backdoor for Scoville, but it's broken up and cleared by Ward. St. Croix has to race. Robida got there first, moving in, centering it. Fata, good job on the back check, was in front of the net and clears it out to center. Roach will backhand it all the way into the Quebec zone. 25 seconds in the period. Back to pick it up is Ward. He sends it off the boards. This is going to be offside or icing, and Giguère, alert, realizing, stays in the net, and it's actually an offside pass as McCleary gets there first. I love it when you see a goaltender do that. Stay in the net knowing that it's either an offside pass or an icing. If you venture out, you just create all sorts of problems for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, and one of the things is that the icing would be negated, but good job by Giguère. We've been a little hard on him maybe, but the bottom line is we'd like to see him play a little bit better. Really, and as you mentioned earlier,
you didn't
and really
see him play on Wednesday and
no,
Thursday.
I certainly no. I heard about it, but no. And but you know, just talking about the save percentages and stuff like that, and we're really not faulting him on the goals. But once again, talking about Giguère, you'd like to see him come up with that sin-laning save on occasion. Ron, lots of rubber here tonight. 25 shots, 2 goals. Once again, Giguère just like to see that big save at the big time.
17.3 seconds remaining in the period. The face-off is to the right of Matthew Garon. Gratton wins the draw. Scoville pinches down low on the left side. Scoville centers it. It skips through the crease. Gratton has it on the right side. 10 seconds in the period. Behind the net for McLean. Flames looking to even the score before period's end. McLean helped out by Gratton. Gratton on the right side. 2 seconds left. Can't get it in front. And the second period will come to an end as we get some pushing and shoving involving Darcy Harris and Eric Charron. And it might be pick a partner here. The period is over. Grolo and Gratton wrap their arms around one another, but it looks like nothing further will materialize here as Harris and Charron took a few rabbit punches at one another. So the Citadels will take a 3-2 lead to the dressing room after 40 minutes of play.
I thought the Flames had a decent period, but once again, you give up those scoring chances and they'll come back to haunt you every time. 25-14. The shots on goal right now through 2 periods, and the Flames outshooting the Citadels 10-8 that period. But once again, I think they got away from what they were doing well, and that's the decent transition game that they had going in the first period. They played tough down low. I still like the line of Bejan, McLean, and Clark. They played very, very well. McLean just amazes me. Hasn't got the big size, but certainly has the big heart. And that has been the most effective line, I think, for the Flames tonight. Roach, Kachuk, and Fata, they've had their chances also. Certainly like to see Sergei Varlamov, Benoit Graton, and Jeff Cowan, who's been nothing short of invisible out there tonight. He has to use his speed more. He has to get things going. Hopefully he'll have a much better third period.
It was 1-1 after 1, but it's the Citadels with the lead after 2. It's 3-2 when leading after the second period this season. Quebec is a perfect 12-0. There were a couple of penalties at the end of the period. Rollo gets a slashing minor, and Charon gets a slashing minor. Make that a roughing minor. Rollo slashing, Charon roughing at the 20-minute mark of the second period. So the teams will play 4 skaters aside to start period number 3. Quebec 3, St. John 2. This is Primetime Sports on TVNB and Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94.
It's a ceremony?
And Your Majesty may be pleased to know that this year, thanks to the help of our Indian friends, we have produced some 30,000 pounds of this sweet gift.
This won't change your world, but it could change your life for the better. As part of a healthy diet, we should eat between 5 and 10 servings of vegetables and fruit a day. This could reduce your risk of cancer, heart disease, and stroke. Remember, 1 serving isn't that big. An apple or a single carrot. We all lead busy lives. A few simple choices can make a big difference. Vegetables and fruits. Are you getting enough?
You chose to walk on the railroad tracks. This is the next 60 seconds of your life.
Hey, guys! Cool. Gotta go! Wimps. Everybody get out of here!
A message from Direction 2006 and Operation Lifesaver.
View wonderful gardens or grow your very own. The grass is greener on The Maritime Gardener, Tuesday at 10 or Thursday at 5:30 on TVNB.
Well, Dick, do you mind if I take a leak?
No.
Go ahead, Duncan.
Shift into overdrive with Automotive Classics. Shift, New Brunswick's only car show, gets a green light on performance. Thursdays at 10 or Saturdays at 5:30 on TVNB. Brought to you in part by UAP Napa.
This is TVNB, the New Brunswick channel.
You can do this, son. Just go back to the count. 1, 2, 3. If he gets closer, just cough and tell him about the strep throat.
Daddy, where did you learn how to dance?
What's wrong with the way I dance?
Family.
He's here.
Isn't it about time? From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And welcome back to Harbour Station here in St. John, New Brunswick, where the Quebec Citadels have taken a 3-2 lead after 2 periods of play. Jim, I think the Quebec Citadels have really woken up here in the second. I think Terrien really woke those guys up in the second period.
Well, no question, like we said. I mean, they were shot 15-4 in the first period, and I'm sure the Terriens tore a strip right off them when they got in there in the first intermission. But, yeah, they've come to life, and they're winning those small battles like the Flames were doing in the first period. Quebec's now jumped out on top. And St. John just doesn't look very organized out there. Both teams really didn't look that organized, Barry, to tell the truth. Last 11, 12 minutes of the second period, just kind of floating back, forth, up and down the ice, playing the puck in and out, trying not to get offside. But they didn't really look like anybody had any golden opportunities there like the Flames did in the first period, where they had 15 shots on goal. And like we said, very easily could have blown this game out in the first 20 minutes. But Quebec leads 3-2. Flames out shooting Quebec 25-14. So Rick Vive's going to be in there scratching his head with Tommy Watt going, what the heck's going on here?
Obviously, that is correct. I mean, 25 shots. I mean, you can win a game and only have 20 shots on net. But with 25 here tonight, the Flames just don't be able to do it. But so defense tonight doesn't look all that great for the Flames. Rocky Thompson, to my calculations, is a -2 here so far tonight. But you can't blame him totally because he's not a defensive player. That's not his role. He's a third or fourth liner. He's a bump and grinder. That's not his. That's just not his style of game, playing a defense like that there. So I think that's where Charron, Staples, St. Croix have to come up and pick up a little bit of the slack.
Well, you talked to Rocky Thompson 2 weeks ago, and he finally, I think after all that media hype, that he walked away from the team, and then he came back after a couple of days off, and everybody thought, you know, well, Thompson's not going to get much ice time. But the exact opposite. Rick Vive threw him in there, wanted him to play. Had him, Rocky felt comfortable where he was, playing forward, playing up there, running with the puck. Looks like his skating abilities improved, but tonight, playing the blue line, he just looks terrible. -2, like you said.
Things really weren't all that rough in this game. Not a whole lot of hits being thrown. The odd good one, we saw one down in behind Jaguar here in the second period, and kind of mind of the old Spectrum in Philadelphia. The boards just kind of did the wave all the way around. But at the end of the second, we noticed there were a little skirmish getting together there, and maybe little tempers heating up on the Flame side of things, but they're just not. I don't think they're just playing the way they should be right now, and they know that the Quebec team is a depleted lineup, but they just can't seem to get the puck into the zone and get some good quality shots on Mathieu Garon.
Well, I'll tell you right now, this crowd is out of this hockey game. They are not into it whatsoever. 4,600 on hand here at Harbour Station rooting for the home team. And they can't get into it. There's no excitement, nothing to really get them on their feet and make them excited about, yeah, let's get this team up, let's get them pumped up, let's get going. The thing you have to remember is that the Flames are 6 points behind Quebec. They've got 4 games in hand, but you got to be thinking, if I'm Rick Vive and Tommy Watt, I want to win this game. I want to send a message out to Quebec, trail them by 4, wake up tomorrow morning, only be trailing them by 4, and say, we're making a run of you boys, don't get too comfy in that #1 spot.
Well, I think your words of wisdom will work, but you got to go down the dressing room and tell them that right now. So anyway, we are going to go to an interview with Stu McDonald after we come back from the break. So you're watching AHL hockey action here at Harbour Station on TVMB.
Welcome back to Harbour Station on this Saturday evening. Primetime sports where the St. John Flames are playing host to the Quebec Citadels. They trail after 2 periods of play, 3-2. Glad to be joined by Chief Operating Officer of the St. John Flames, Stu McDonald. Stu, thanks for coming by.
Pleasure to be here.
Give us your overview of the first 40 minutes.
Well, it's been an exciting game, actually, that I sort of wasn't sure what to expect after. It's the first time we've really seen him in other than a preseason game since the ugly playoff series last year for us. And I thought the guys come out pretty hard. I know it was a tough week, the 2 games on the road where we had some success down in New England and then a long bus trip home. So, you know, sometimes the bus legs can get you, but both teams seem to be in pretty good shape starting the game.
A little bit of a slow start to the game. Both teams kind of feeling each other out. Were you expecting more rough stuff when this first time Quebec's been here? Like you said, the now defunct Fredericton Canadians. A lot of people on hand tonight, about 4,400. Were you expecting a little more rough stuff?
Well, I think the first couple games in Quebec sort of led to that, to people's expectations, but that always seems to be the way. The more it's discussed, the less there seems to be during the games. And I think, you know, both teams now being so close to each other, and with St. John having a few games in hand on the Citadel, that, you know, every point, and even in this early in the season, every point is critical. And I think obviously both coaches saying, you know, 2 points are the critical thing for us. Let's not have any goofy stuff out there. Make sure we can get out of here with the win.
we'll worry about other things later on.
That was going to be my next question. I mean, how important is this game for you? I mean, seeing that you're 6 points behind Quebec, 4 games in hand, but you want to be sending a message out to this team that don't get too comfortable in that first place position. We're coming at you.
Well, I think that's probably the feeling right through the whole Atlantic Division. I think a lot of people going into this season looked at Quebec and with the signings they had in the offseason and said, you know, they're the cream of the crop. And I think the other 3 clubs in the division have looked and said, you know, we want to be competitive with them all the way through, but especially the first half of the season, it's important to stay within reach of them. And I think, you know, speaking for Rick, that he's got to be pretty happy with our play to date. And you'd like to, you know, we're in a bit of a roll now, and I think that's probably a bigger key to just to keep that rolling.
Taking the team on the road for practices the past couple of weeks, how's that been?
It's been great. We've been out to St. Andrews for our first stop. We're coming up into St. Stephen, and about another week down the road with a stop after that in Blacks Harbour, Sussex, and Hampton. Players had a great time in St. Andrews. We had a pretty good crowd out there, and I think we'll see that continue to build. And really, our job is to get out there and make the team as accessible as possible. And we sometimes do a good job of that right around St. John, but tend to maybe not make the effort to get out past that. And so we've gone about it a little bit different way this year, and it's the initial response has been terrific.
Of course, it was big news when the season got started. The Flames season ticket numbers were down. Can you give us any update on where the number is right now, and how impressed are you so far with all the home games you played?
Well, I think the biggest thing for us is, you know, we picked up a little bit. You know, late August we were sitting about 1,500 season tickets, which is a huge concern, and last year we had a little over 22 and a half. We ended up a little over 1,800, and we're still adding weekly to that on little dribs and drabs. So from that standpoint, you know, we're just still significantly below where we'd like to be and probably where we need to be long term. But the positive sign this year for us has been our walk-up crowds have been up substantially, and our attendance actually up over this time last year after the same number of home games. So there's a real positive sign there. You know, you look at a day like today, we had a little bit of drizzle though, and that might keep a few people home. Sure. Where if you've got that season ticket base, that allows you to ensure that those people are going to be out. But I would say through the first month or two of the season that we're pretty satisfied. A lot of work to do yet, and that's always keeps lending itself to season tickets and partial plans. How do you keep building those?
Absolutely. Let's jump up to Calgary for a second. Of course, they're on a bit of a roll themselves after a slow start out of the gate. Any update on Martin St. Louis? How many lines has he been playing on? Have they been jumping him up from the 4th to the 2nd? And has he had an opportunity to get a lot of ice time up there?
I talked to our general manager, Nick Polano, today, who's the head of player personnel for Calgary, and he got a chance to watch on television, to watch the game a couple nights ago. Martin played 15 minutes in that game. Said he played very well, had a couple of great chances. It was robbed on one play. But I think they're very happy with his play. I think we'd all like to see him, pick up a point or two just to keep it rolling. But I mean, he truly is one of those guys, and I think Nat's in the same boat where, no one, selfishly, none of us like to lose as fans, like to lose our players of the big team, and even though that's why we're here. But the sentiment around Harbor Station has really been, everyone is so happy for both guys to get another chance to show what they can do because they've done so much for this club. And I think everyone's just, pulling for both Nat and for Martin to get a chance to put a few points on the board and continue to earn their position up there.
No question. How tough has it been on this team with Calgary, like we said, getting that slow start out of the gate? Call-ups, call back down, back and forth to start off the season. It's got to throw the chemistry off a little bit, but Rick Vives handled it very well. Is there any concern that if Calgary doesn't make the playoffs this year, that it's going to be another situation where if the Flames end up in a pretty good spot to make a good Calder Cup run, are they going to get all the players called up if Calgary does make a playoff run this year?
Well, I think that's, no matter where you are in the American Hockey League, that's always a possibility. We are here to develop talent and support our parent club in the NHL, and they're obviously all their ultimate goal is go as far as they can in the playoffs. But I think realistically this year we're really fortunate in the player moves that Calgary made, the young kids they've got coming up through the draft that have joined our club this year. They were so deep in talent to start the season that we're able to lose a Nat and a Martin. And although we've definitely missed them in the room, it hasn't affected us maybe as dramatically as it would a year ago when we had a much younger team. And I think and Quebec's much in the same boat. The injuries Montreal's had with the call-ups they've taken from the Citadels, Quebec again has been deep enough that it's allowed them to stay competitive. And I think as long as we can remain competitive, we know we've got a good base of talent here, and our young kids are going to continue to get better. I think as long as we've got the core that we've got now would allow that development to continue to take place.
Got to be happy seeing a guy like Rico Fata out there. Big question mark around him. Great set of wheels, no doubt about that. Big question mark was his puck sense, where the puck was and whether or not he could stay with it. Seems like if you watch the games, tonight's game, you've seen the first 40 minutes this guy's played. you got to be happy with the progress that he's making over the past couple of weeks.
I think Calgary's really pleased with a lot of the young prospects, and I think that's part of their issue right now is they're maybe missing, a first-line center that can put the puck in the net in Calgary, but second, third, fourth line, and probably here fifth and sixth line, they match up pretty well to almost anyone in the NHL. And looking at Rico and Daniel Tkachuk, they've got a great future ahead of them. It's just a matter of hanging on to make sure that they can develop. I think they're very happy with their progress to date. I know Rick is, and I think we're just fortunate to be able to have them here during hopefully most of the course of this season.
Absolutely. Flames are back on the ice. Quebec's coming back on the ice too. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Second period, third period of action getting set to come up here at Harbour Station. Citadels lead the Flames 3-2 on Primetime Sports here on TVNB.
Up there last night.
Hold on. Pierre Sevigny, his sixth from Gennady Razin and Jonathan DeLille. Flames outshot Quebec 10-8 through two. They're out shooting Quebec 25-14. 4-on-4 here with the coincidental minors at the 20-minute mark. Grollo slashing, Chiron roughing. Down the right side, Fata over the line. Shot knocked away by Garand. Picked up and brought up ice by Bashkarov. He scored two. He hustles around Staples. Bashkarov moving in, 2-on-1. Shot, save Giguère, and he hangs on. Staples, an uncharacteristic boo-boo in the neutral zone on his behalf as he tried to knock the puck away and he hesitated. And he who hesitates is lost. Bashkarov went around him.
Going to be lost against Bashkarov, that's for sure. This guy's been all over the ice all night in the offensive zone. Good save by Giguère. However, he was backing up. Took that off the pad and regrouped and picked it off with the glove. Interesting, in that period, Flames, or throughout two periods, Flames have outchanced Quebec 14-8. Very, very successful on the faceoffs. Out of 54, the Flames have won 34. That's a very, very good success rate.
On the faceoff, the Flames win another one. Darryl Scoville has it behind the net. St. John skating from our left to right here in the third, trailing by a goal. St. Croix brings it up the right wing, sends it across for Varlamov. He's over the Quebec line. Varlamov with a shot, steered away by Garand's stick. Varlamov on the right side, fires it wide. In deep is Darryl Scoville. Scoville in front, tipped by Graton. It ends up in the corner. Razin will send it off the boards down ice. St. Croix has to hustle. Giguère will come out and fire it away from McCleary. Scoville has it for the Flames, a minute gone in the third. He plays it off the boards for St. Croix, moving up the right wing near side, bringing it to the line, sending it in deep. Hard after it is Varlamov. Varlamov pushes it in behind the net. Graton can't come up with it. Starting back is big Jason Ward. He's rugged. He skates through center now over the St. John line. Ward held and spun by Scoville. St. Croix hammers the puck off the boards and it's picked up by Varlamov, bringing it up the right side. Across for Graton. He tries to split the defense. Graton moving in. Can't get it to Varlamov. McBain sends it behind the net. It bounces off of Varlamov to the line. Sorokin keeps in. Then he roughs up Ward. Graton, top of the right circle, dropping it off for Sorokin. Broken up by Ward. Sorokin now on the left side. Tried to step away from the defender. I believe that was McCleary who he knocked down. And McCleary is hurt. Throws his gloves and races to the bench. McCleary wearing a visor, but he's cut near his right eye and he stumbles to the Quebec bench. Robida in the St. John zone with his shot. That one skipped just wide, and it's brought back by Rico Fata. Teams are at full strength. Fata into the Quebec zone, down the right wing, drops it off for Tkachuk. He's hit by Bashkarov. It's picked up by Grollo. Tkachuk chases him behind the net. Grollo dishes off for Robida, moving on the right side. He's hit by Fata, who plays it in deep. Thompson's back, sends it off the glass, and that will go for an icing. Seeing Trent McCleary get hit there a moment ago and being hurt. He's a guy who suffered a serious eye injury, used to play with the PEI Senators. That's why he wears the visor.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly what happened. He was tied up with somebody. I'm not sure if it was Breton or not, but he went down and he is gone. It's like, no, he's right down at the end of the bench being looked at by the trainer. Again, not sure what happened, but anytime someone leaves in a hurry, in a panic like that, and grabs onto their facial area, you really have to wonder if there's serious injury. Sure hope that Aaron Downey has recovered from the mishap in Providence the other night. And that sounded terrible what happened over the air, and I sure hope that Aaron Downey makes a full recovery.
Well, the news we heard out of Providence today is that Downey suffered a deep cut to his upper right thigh. Jonathan Aiken, who was also injured on that play, sustained a deep bruise to his upper left thigh. It was reported in the Providence Journal-Bulletin on Thursday that Aiken has suffered a broken wrist. That's what I said on Wednesday night because that's what we were told. That turns out not to be the case, but it's suspected that Downey will be out of hospital this weekend, but it's still unclear when either Downey or Aiken will return to the Providence lineup. Bruins are in action tonight in Worcester, second half of a home-and-home set. Last night, it was Providence and Worcester playing to a 2-2 tie. No penalty on the McCleary injury, although Michel Therrien and Jason McBain were both looking for one. And the puck bounces past McBain all the way down into the Quebec zone. 3-2, the Citadel's lead. And behind his own net, it's Razin sending it ahead. Picked up by Pierre Sevigny. He has a goal tonight, snapping a drought of 5 games without a point. Thompson runs into Waugh. And Tkachuk has the puck. He'll send it ahead, left side. Roach down the wing, over the line. Roach looking in front, firing it through the slot. Fat on the right wing boards is knocked down by Razin. Sevigny takes a heavy hit from Tkachuk. Waugh brings it over the line offside. And they're calling for a doctor to the Quebec dressing room, so Trent McCleary could tell by his reaction that he was shaken up. Some NHL scores tonight. Earlier, Los Angeles beat San Jose 4-1. Matt Sundin has his 10th of the season. Toronto with a 1-0 lead over Edmonton. That's after 1. Harold Dykhouse has his 3rd for Montreal. The Canadiens leading Vancouver 1-0 in the first. Islanders have jumped out to a 2-0 lead over Washington in the first. Cam Stewart has the goal for the Panthers. Florida leads Atlanta 1-0. That's in the first. Pittsburgh over Carolina 1-0 in the first. And the late game on Hockey Night in Canada, the Calgary Flames have been getting a lot of TV time lately. Playing in Colorado against the Avalanche. The return of Peter Forsberg and Denny Gauthier will return to the Calgary lineup tonight. The Avalanche got walloped 7-0 last night in Phoenix.
Phoenix, pretty good hockey team. They're really firing on all cylinders now. Tkachuk having a great year and have to be one of the favorites coming to the West. Colorado, what's up with them? They've been getting some questionable goaltending. Mark Denis and Patrick Waugh, goaltenders for the Colorado Avalanche. Forsberg expected to play tonight for the Colorado Avalanche. He'll be a much-needed addition to that team that is probably better than its record indicates right now.
A lot of Phoenix Coyote fans around here with Bobby Francis taking over.
Sure are.
St. Croix drops the puck for Scoville. He'll bring it to the line and plays it in. Robida sends it out. St. Croix gets it to Scoville. Scoville turns and looks up ice. Now carries it over the Quebec line. Scoville down the left side. Shot stopped by Guerin. Where is it? It's in the corner, but nobody knew where it was, and you can't really fault Chris Lee for that one because nobody knew where it was, but the puck actually was in the corner.
Well, good job, the shot on net, and Chris Clark doing what he has to do and has been doing, going to the net, picking that puck up. Shot coming from the side, and again, I've liked what Chris Clark has done here lately, and lots of people down through the lobby between periods talking about how impressed they were with Brett McLean and Chris Clark and Steve Bajan. That line has been the best for the Flames here tonight.
Face-off is to the right of Matthew Guerin. Shots 28-16 in favor of St. John. The Citadels continue to lead. It's 3-2. Breton against Bocage on the draw. Puck is played behind the Quebec net. Nazardine loses it to Varlamov, then Nazardine takes it right back. Out to center, Jason Ward brings it into the St. John zone, moving down the right side, knocked down by Staples. Ward back on his skates, forces it in behind the net. Bocage in the left corner. Pressured by Breton, puck is loose. Scooped up by Sorokin. He'll send it behind the net, and it comes to Cowan on the left side. Cowan out to center. Ridden out of the play by Bashkarov. Varlamov over skates at the Quebec line, and it skips over the glass out of play. 15:57 remaining in the third. 3-2 Quebec on Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94. Face-off just outside the Quebec blue line. Waugh against Tkachuk in the draw. Tkachuk kicks it back to Charron. He'll move it for Thompson, and he drives it in offside, or the Flames at the line. Out of town in the AHL tonight. In the first, Hershey leading Philadelphia 1-0. Rochester has a 1-0 lead over Hamilton. Hartford and Springfield are tied at 1. In case you missed it, record-breaking day for the Empty Stocking Fund, broadcast earlier today on Global Television and on Country 94. $133,016.68 raised today through the generosity of New Brunswickers. The Empty Stocking Fund. It's fun to be a part of that this afternoon. Thanks for your support. $133,016.68. A record-setting day, the 1999 Empty Stocking Fund. Puck is played into the St. John zone. Charron moves it for Roach. He gets it to Thompson. Can't get it out. Shot by McBain. Broken up by Roach. And the Flames start back. Roach moves it on the right side. Fata plays it off the boards. Fata steps in front. Loses it. Tkachuk down low. Cuts in behind the net. Tkachuk chops it to Roach. It rolls off of his stick into the corner. Roach gets it back. Moves it for Fata in behind the goal. Fata watched by McBain. Fata backhands it for Daniel Tkachuk. Tkachuk sends it back in deep for Roach. Trying to work it like Bejan, Clark, and McLean. Charron with a wraparound as he slashed by DeLille. There will be a penalty against the Citadels. In Wednesday's game in Albany, Quebec took only 3 minor penalties, their lowest total of the season. This slashing penalty against DeLille at 4:54 is just their 3rd minor tonight.
Well, it's the key to any victory, I think. Quebec very, very disciplined against Albany, winning that hockey game, as the Flames were in Hartford, taking only the 1 penalty of the night. 15:06 left here in the 3rd period. Jonathan DeLille takes the penalty, and the Flames have to get something going.
Power play number 2 for St. John.
You're certainly seeing the replay why the call was made by Chris Lee. DeLille just hacking away at Charron.
Breton, Cowan, Clark, Varlamov, and Scoville, the power play unit. The face-off is to the left of Matthew Garon. 3-2, Quebec leads. We're in the 3rd at Harbor Station. Breton wins the draw, gets it back to Varlamov. Across for Scoville. Wrist shot, knocked down in front by Cowan, but it bounces all the way to neutral territory. Varlamov sends it across for Clark. Clark steps around one defender, tries to go around Roby Duck. Clark forced into the corner, stripped of the puck. Breton helps out, moves it for Clark down low left side. In behind the goal, Benoit Breton. Sends it back to the right point. Varlamov gobbles it up there. Sends it to Cowan. Back to the left point. Scoville for Varlamov. Back to Scoville. Moving in. Scoville shot stopped by Garon. He hangs on with 1:27 to go in the power play. 14:33 to go in regulation time. Quebec leading 3-2. The St. John Flames have had their problems with the Quebec organization. Going back to when the Montreal Canadiens farm team was in Fredericton. 4 straight losses last year in the playoffs. 2 losses at Le Colisée earlier this year. Colisée has been renamed now, as a matter of fact. It's now Le Colisée Pepsi.
No Coke Pepsi.
Not that you can get a Pepsi in the press box. It costs you $7.
You get a nice hot dog, though.
Best in the league. Breton's pass sails past Varlamov all the way down into the St. John zone. Flames will start from there. They move from left to right. They're down by a goal. 75 seconds to go in the man advantage. Varlamov from behind the goal. Brings it up the middle. Sergei Varlamov. He scored 5 goals this season. He's into the Quebec zone on the right side. He puts on the brakes on the half-board, sends it on net. Garon tried to catch it, but dropped it in behind the goal. Benoit Breton loses it. Robida banks it off the glass all the way. Jaguar will come out. And as the Citadels make changes, he thought about shooting it ahead, but he elects to set it behind the net for Darryl Scoville. Scoville hustles up the middle. 45 seconds in the man advantage. Fata streaking down the right side. Fata into the corner. Shovels it behind the net for Dave Roach. Roach back to Fata on the half boards. Fata in the circle for Roach in behind the goal. Roach moves it back to Fata. Fata looking to the point, loses an edge and falls, tries to shovel it back. Bocage looks to clear. Charron keeps in, sends it across. Michel Therrien screaming that one came out, but it didn't. Now Scoville down the left side. Scoville in front, backhand by Roach, save, rebound. Oh, what a save by Garon! He robbed Tkachuk in the first, and a larcenous stop on Fata here in the 3rd.
Wow, what a save by Matthew Garon. That's 3 times. 3 huge saves, a couple off Tkachuk, but he was laying down across the ice. The puck came out to Keith Tkachuk, or to Daniel Tkachuk. And just couldn't get it up and over. Good job. Flames trying to jam it in. Actually, that was Rico Fata who he robbed. Fata just couldn't get that shot up over and outstretched Matthew Guérin. He's been tested heavily tonight. A couple of big saves to keep the Quebec Citadels out in front, 3-2.
Yeah, as I mentioned, it was Tkachuk in the first and Fata here in the third. Fata left-handed shot. That was the perfect opportunity, and Guérin makes another big save.
Seemed to be pulling away when he made the shot, though.
Olsen forces the puck off of Sorokin's stick, and it ends up back down in St. John territory as the penalty to DeLille expires. Make the Flames 0 for 2 with the man advantage. They trail 3-2. 13 minutes remaining in regulation time. Tkachuk brings it into the Quebec zone. Tkachuk hooked by Grolo. It's backhanded out by McBain. Sorokin back at the St. John line. Sends it ahead. It bounces past Tkachuk into the Quebec zone. This will be an icing. It's Quebec 3, St. John 2. This is Baxter's Flames hockey on Country 94.
Saturdays from noon until 4. All season ticket holders receive a 10% discount on all regular price merchandise. That's Wayne Square. Now open Thursdays and Fridays from 11 until 5. Saturdays from noon until 4.
Can't help but get the feeling that this simply is not St. John's night. Matthew Guérin has been nothing short of phenomenal.
Yeah, he's made some huge saves, and once again, he's sprawling, he's throwing himself out. A goaltender feels very, very confident, and you can do that stuff. And Guérin's angles have been pretty good here tonight. He's clubbed a couple of rebounds, but he's recovered nicely, and he hasn't been, as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, and he hasn't been good as of late in the last 5 games or so, but he's come here to play tonight, and he's very, very strong.
Lost 3 in a row and 5 of his last 6. Bégin from the face-off in his own end, brings it to center, fires it in over top of the Quebec net. McLean's the first one on it on the right wing boards, moves it to Clark, swept away by Grolo. Bashkarov, who has 2 goals, gets it out to Caron, but Charon back in the St. John zone sends it for Thompson. Thompson absorbs the hit from Harris. Bashkarov moves it for Caron. Harris hit by Bégin. Bashkarov has the puck. Bashkarov moving in front, dragged down by Thompson, and the puck slides into the corner. McLean sends it off the boards, kept in. Thompson blocks it in front. Charon moves it to Bégin, and the Flames start up ice. McLean bringing it down the left side, sending it into the right corner. St. John will make a wholesale change. The Gratton unit is back on the ice with a little more than 12 minutes remaining in regulation time. St. John trailing 3-2. Gratton back in his own end. Has it behind the net. It comes to Darryl Scoville. Scoville now for St. Croix. And that pass intended for Gratton sails off the mark. This will be an icing as Gennady Razin is back for the touch with 11:48 remaining in regulation time. Gennady Razin is not an offensive-minded defenseman by any stretch of the imagination. Produced only 3 points, all assists in 48 games with Fredericton last year. He has 3 assists in this, his 25th game of the season this year.
21-year-old from the Ukraine. A couple of faux pas earlier in the game, one resulting in a goal, but he's been steady. He played last year for this hockey team, 48 games. Only 3 points, as you mentioned, certainly not offensive, but has to be steady back there, and he seemed to come around a bit tonight.
St. Croix chopped down by DeLille behind the St. John net. Sevigny in the right corner. Tried to knock it away from Gratton. The 25s battling in the corner. DeLille now comes up with it. He turns and works it in behind the goal. Skating after it is St. Croix. St. Croix whacks it up ice, but Razin forces it back into the corner. St. Croix hit by DeLille. Now St. Croix sends it off the glass, and it skips all the way into the Quebec zone. Citadels arrived in St. John at 2:30 this morning. Their flight was delayed, and they left a lot later than they'd planned. They don't look like they're too fatigued here. They're enjoying this 3-2 lead. They've had great goaltending from Matthew Guérin. 11 minutes, 6 seconds remaining in regulation time. Razin loses it to Varlamov deep in the Quebec zone. Varlamov on the left side. Varlamov moves to the high slot. Backhand, stopped by Guérin. Picked up by Cowan on the right side. His shot knocked away and cleared by DeLille. Staples gathers it in the neutral zone. Sends it for Sorokin. He'll shoot it in. Guérin had it skipped between his legs, but he was out of the net, so it bounces in behind the goal. Nasreddine can't clear. Roach on the left side. Roach with a shot. Guérin makes the save. 10:36 remaining in the third. 3-2 Quebec. This is Baxter's Flames Hockey on Country 94.
You're listening to Aaron Kennedy, the Baxter's Flames Hockey broadcast on Country 94. Your chance to win in the Rhetoric First Goal of the Game contest. The pregame show starts at 6:45 both nights, Tuesday and Wednesday.
a brief conversation with referee Chris Lee. Of course, on Thursday night in Hartford, the Wolfpack asked for a measurement of the width of the blade of Rocky Thompson's stick. It proved to be legal, and Hartford was penalized a bench minor for unsustained request. That's what they call it. There's Bashkarov. He has 2 goals, bringing it down the right side into the St. John zone, dropping it off. It's broken up by Roach, and the Flames come back. Roach shoots it into Quebec territory. Garand will set it up behind the net. Bashkarov up the middle for Bocage on the right side. Ward. He'll chip it into the left corner. Giguère is out, backhanding it away from Bocage. Eric Charon slides it out to center. Tkachuk pokes it past Bashkarov. Ward turns it over to Charon. Charon back in his own end. Rink wide for Staples. Under 10 minutes remaining. Staples shoots it in. Back to get it is Alain Azardine. He's pursued by Bégin. He drops it off for McBain. He'll fire it off the glass. Charon tried to keep it in, but it squirts past him and Clark out to center. Thompson back at his own line. Moves it for Bégin, but McLean was just offside. 9:36 remaining in regulation time. Flames trailing 3-2.
Flames passes seem to be off a little bit. The timing seems to be off. They just don't seem to be in sync right now. And down 3-2 with 9:36 left here in the third period. This team has to get something going. We said how much we'd like the line that's out there right now. That looks like it's going to be changed. Clark, Bégin, and McLean. We see Cowan, Breton, and Sergei Varlamov certainly like to get that line going. Sergei Varlamov, gifted goal scorer. The guy could put the puck in the net. Now's the time for him to break out of this little mini slump and get something going for the Flames.
Breton wins the draw. Eric Charon fires it into the Quebec zone. Hard after it is Breton in the corner. Breton tied up along the boards neatly by Robida. Breton looking for an attacking zone face-off. They scrum along the boards. Finally, the puck pops loose, and it's flipped out by Caron. Back at his own line, Varlamov for St. John. Varlamov steps around Darcy Harris, leaves it for Thompson. Back to Varlamov over the line with his shot caught by Garand. And he hangs on. The word on Trent McCleary here in the press box is that his eye is okay, but the injury that he sustained is somewhat serious, that he's going to the hospital for surgery. And it wasn't actually in his eye, but it was close enough to his eye that they have to do some repairs. So he's gone to the St. John Regional Hospital. That's why they were calling for a doctor over the public address system here a couple of times shortly after the injury.
Boy, oh boy, you hate to see that. The native of Curran, Saskatchewan, pretty valuable member of this Quebec Citadel hockey team. Played 46 games with Montreal last year, and been a welcome addition to the Citadels this year, and certainly hope Trent McCleary is going to be okay.
Played 4 games in Montreal this season as well. He's had problems with eye injuries in the past. Former PEI Senator. 9 minutes remaining. Quebec nursing a 3-2 lead. Cowan keeps it in at the Citadel's line behind the goal. Benoit Breton looking in front, maintaining possession from the right corner. Works it in behind the goal for Cowan. Now Varlamov foiled on his wraparound attempt. Starting back with the Citadel's 3-on-2. Sevigny moves it down the right side. McBain steps in front. Shot. Giguère the save. Bouncing puck, and Giguère will cover up after Scoville forces it back into his goaltender's body.
Puck centered by Sevigny. Nobody really knew where it was. As you mentioned, Scoville had enough sense to kind of slide it back to Giguère. He didn't know where it was either. Kind of bouncing around up in the air, but good job by Quebec of turning the puck up the ice again. And he thrown it towards the front of the net. Looked like it was tipped by Stéphane Waugh.
McBain actually moving down the right side that forced it in front, the captain. And you put the puck on net, when it bounces around like that, you never know what might happen.
No, absolutely. And like I say, Giguère didn't see it. And Lucky Scoville had enough sense to slide it back and recover up.
36-18 are the shots.
Wow, that's huge.
Robida's shot blocked by Bégin out to center. Ward drops it back for Robida. His pass is off the mark, and this should be icing and will be, as Sorokin is back for the touch with 8 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in regulation time. The fewest shots allowed by the Flames in a game this season is 24. And that was in a 4-2 win over the Maple Leafs on October the 24th when they outshot the Leafs 50-24. Flames have hit the 50-shot plateau on 3 occasions, once having 51 shots.
Hasn't had a lot of problem getting a lot of shots on throughout the year so far. Weak goals and really untimely goals by the other squads really have the demise of the Flames. And tonight here, once again, 36-18. Flames should be ahead, but Guérin standing on his head, playing very well for the Citadel.
Entering tonight's action, the Flames leading the league with an average of 36.62 shots on goal per game. And assuming they get just one more shot in the next 8 minutes and 8 seconds, that number will go up. And the Flames offense has been very good at 3.71, but it's the Quebec defense that's winning out tonight, leading the league with a 2.52 team goals against average, and most of that has been provided by Dan Murphy, who leads the league. He's the only goaltender in the league with an average below 2 goals per game. But Guérin, as Fredericton fans will attest, and St. John fans remember from last year, is more than competent in his own right. He just has had his woes of late, but he's shining tonight.
Oh yeah, this is a big comeback for Guérin. As you mentioned, Dan Murphy, 9.51 save percentage, 8 wins, 1 loss. Phenomenal, but Guérin here is stealing the show tonight.
Robidub blasts it in. Giguère is out behind the net, leaving it for Thompson. 7 minutes, 50 seconds to go. Quebec 3, St. John 2. Thompson can't get it out of the zone. DeLille hustles after the loose puck in the left corner. In front, Stéphane Waugh, they score! Pierre Sevigny with his second goal of the game, and Quebec has a 4-2 lead, and Rocky Thompson knows he's to blame for that one.
Well, the Rock's not going to feel very good about that, and you know, it's once again good pressure by the Quebec Citadels, and they put a little pressure on Rocky Thompson, topped it up, and that's a big goal for Quebec. And really, what can you say other than the Flames had control of this hockey game? Very good in the first period. Quebec got a couple of breaks and a couple in the second, but a good job by Jonathan DeLille getting the puck out to Stéphane Waugh and over to Pierre Sevigny, who's not going to miss that close as he didn't earlier. And that makes it 4-2 Quebec.
That's exactly how the goal goes. Sevigny, his second of the night, 7th of the season for Waugh and DeLille at 12-17. 4-2 Quebec. They look to continue their mastery over St. John. Bashkarov plays it to the line, kept in to the Quebec zone by Breton. Now Bashkarov pokes it past Cowan and moves through center. Ahead for Bocage into the St. John zone. Bocage flattened by St. Croix, and Scoville has the puck. He plays it neatly to himself off the end, the back of the net, and then sends it in deep. Guérin ventures out to shoot it away from Varlamov. Hops over Cowan's stick, and starting back is Jason Ward. Bashkarov down the left side in front for Ward. Backhander kicked out by Giguère. Ward in behind the net, centers it. Cowan is there, and he'll turn it up ice. Under 7 minutes remaining. Flames need to take chances now. They're down by 2 in jeopardy of their 4th consecutive loss on home ice. Clark tried to move in behind the Quebec net, but he didn't have the puck with him. Now Breton battling with Nasreddine. Clark assists, gets it to Breton. Breton spinning away from Nasreddine, working it on the right side. Now for Bégin. Bégin can't emerge from the corner as Groslo has them all tied up. Now Breton looks to work it back to the point, but it bounces out to center. Breton was out there a long time. Now he'll head off. And play is blown dead as it was contacted with a high stick. 6:14 remaining. And just the way this game unfolded, the Flames with a bevy of chances in the first, but had to settle for a 1-1 draw after one. You got the feeling that it wasn't going to be their night, and you really get that feeling now.
I don't know how many times have we seen that happen over last year and this year. The hockey team showing a lot of offensive prowess in the first period, looking very good, looking very confident, having some great chances. Matthew Guérin coming up with some big saves. Flames out shooting Quebec 15-6 in the first period and having some glorious scoring chances. Particularly Daniel Tkachuk was robbed by Guérin, but it's really come back to haunt this team now, down 4-2 with just over 6 minutes left.
Guérin robbed Tkachuk, then he robbed Fata here in the third. Cowan and Bégin had good chances from in tight, and they both fired the puck not only over the net, but over the glass. Scoville roughs up Christian Caron, no penalty, and that one draws the ire of Michel Therrien. That was right in front of the referee. Roach sends it into the Quebec zone. Hard after it is Fata. Fata battling with Razin. The puck is loose. Kachuk pokes it. Roach wraparound save. Rebound kicked out by Garon.
Big
as Roach is wrestled to the ice by McBain. Giguère to the bench. Penalty coming up. The Citadels gain possession and play is stopped. That was another big save by Matthew Garon.
Yeah, absolutely. On the wraparound, stuck out the big right pad. He's been very, very solid tonight. We talked about him flopping around and making a couple of big unconventional saves, but his angles have been good. He's covered up the puck relatively well later in the game, but another big save there on the wraparound. Garon is the reason, in my eyes, the Quebec Citadels have a 4-2 lead.
Jason McBain with a minor for holding at 14-28. 6'2", 202-pound defenseman, strong, solid, gets the job done. He doesn't really get a lot of penalty minutes. Started last year with Las Vegas in the IHL, then joined Providence and was part of the team that beat the Canadiens, the old Fredericton Canadiens, in the Eastern Conference Final en route to the Calder Cup Championship. It's 5 goals this year. 3 of them have come on the power play. Now he's off for 2 minutes. Flames trailing 4-2. Face off to the right of Matthew Garon, who's been brilliant. Varlamov for Scoville. Back to Varlamov, now for Scoville. Breton sets up the screen. The puck hops over Scoville's stick on the return feed from Clark, and it's out to center. Varlamov loses it. DeLille, who has a couple of assists, plays it off the boards down ice.
One thing the Flames don't want to do right now is try to do it, everybody do it themselves. You have to really get that puck up the ice quickly and not rely on just single man trying to do everything.
5 minutes remaining in the third, 4-2 Quebec. Giguère out behind the net, playing it away from DeLille, and Scoville will bring it up ice from left to right. The Flames skate. Scoville gains the center line, shoots it in. Ward will clear it all the way. Giguère leaves it for Varlamov. 70 seconds to go in the power play. Varlamov back behind his own net. For Sorokin. Back to Varlamov. He steps around Ward, brings it over the line, dropping it off for Fata. Fata in the high slot for Varlamov on the right side. Bad pass. Varlamov can't accept it, and the puck is played out by the Citadel defense. Fata back inside his own line. Moves it for Kachuk. Flames are making changes. They nearly had too many men on the ice. Fata dropping it for Roach on the right side in front, broken up by Grolo. Eric Charron has it down low. Roach with a shot. That one sails over the net. Sorokin corrals it at the line, holding in. Roach in behind the goal. 30 seconds in the power play. Roach in front. Backhand stopped. It's loose. Ward looks to clear. Sorokin keeps in. He dives and knocks it to Kachuk. In behind the net, Roach battling with Grolo. Fata has the loose puck. Fata on the left side in front. Kachuk can't get to it. Big play by Jason Ward. Now Charron sends it for Kachuk. To the left point, Sorokin. Slap shot is wide off the end boards. Roach has it. He's hit by Grolo. Roach moves it now for Kachuk. For Fata to the point. Charron dives to keep it in. Penalty over. Kachuk on the left side. Back to Sorokin. Across for Charron. Moving in. Shot. That one's wide. There'll be a penalty. Sorokin has it again. For Kachuk. Giguère to the bench. But now the Citadels will gain possession and play is stopped. And Roach probably foolishly took an extra run at Grolo. And that may negate a St. John power play. We'll wait and see the call from Chris Lee.
Not sure if Chris is going to make that call on Roach, but it was right in front of the referee. Not a good play by Dave Roach. Frustration settling in on a few of the Flames players. A good chance to go in the power play. We'll see what Chris Lee decides. He is going to give one to Roach or not. Flames had a couple of chances there. Roach was taking a beating out front. Lee going to the box, and it looks like, yes it is, Dave Roach going to negate that chance at the power play. Bad penalty.
Yes, it was. Penalty must be on the goalie. Oh no, I guess it's on Grolo. He makes his way off.
Roach was getting an awful wicked bunch of hacks out front, but listen, if that's your job. If you go out front, you're going to get beat up a bit. And certainly, you don't have to retaliate. I know you talked about the frustration of settling in. You're playing a team and you end up you're on the short end of a 4-2 score, but you really have to be a lot smarter than that. And Dave Roach usually is.
You get the power play, you get a goal.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
2.5 or 3 minutes left, and you're down by 1.
Sure, a little momentum. You've had some chances here this period, and that's just not a good play. Rick Five really has to be shaking his head about that.
Grolo holding the stick, Roach charging at 16:39. Don't blame Chris Lee for the call.
Oh, no.
It was Roach who made the bad decision. So it's 4-on-4. Quebec leading 4-2. Breton off the faceoff, tries to force it to the side of the net. It bounces in front. Varlamov with a shot, a knuckleball. Garon makes the save, and then Breton knocks him to the ice. But Garon is able to hang on. 3:14 remaining in regulation time. The attendance this evening in Harbor Station, 4,269, 42-69. The attendance tonight to see the Quebec Citadels against the St. John Flames.
Pretty decent hockey game here tonight so far. Pretty frustrating game, as we talked about, for the Flames, but pretty good action throughout.
Puck is played down ice by Stefan Robida. Back to get it is Charon. He'll leave it for Sorokin. 3 minutes to go in the third. Sorokin flips it in, and the Flames charge after it. Sorokin gets there first. Sorokin in behind the net, hit heavily by Robida. Sorokin didn't like it, gave him a bit of the wood as the Citadels start back. Bashkarov has two. Sorokin and Robida still having words behind the play. A shot by Bocage is off target, and Greton brings it back. Greton, look out! He got crunched by Bocage right in front of the St. John bench. Caught with his head down, and Bocage gave it to him. Robida plays it for Bashkarov, top of the right circle. Bashkarov moves to the slot, maintains possession, gets away from Scoville's shot. Glove saves Jaguar. He doesn't want to hang on, and he doesn't. Shoveling it ahead for Daniel Tkachuk. He gives it to Fata. Still 4-on-4. Fata tried to split the defense. McBain, though, played it away, and Razin gets it out for Waugh. Waugh tried to step around Staples. Puck played off of his stick. Staples moves in behind his own net. He controls with under 2 minutes remaining. Feeding it for Rico Fata. Here comes Fata down the right side. Tries to go through Razin and does. Fata cuts in front, in behind the net, wrap around. Staples moving in. Bouncing puck. And it's played to the boards. Tkachuk has it with 1:45 to go. Flames down 4-2. Fata on the right side, battling along the boards with Razin. Fata's knocked down. Ward has the puck. Ward hooked by Tkachuk. Ward gets it out to center. Waugh will play it all the way down. It's on net. Icing is waved off. Jaguar shoots it into the corner. 1:25 to go as the penalties to Grolo and Roach expire. It's full strength. Flames have got to get Jaguar to the bench. Tkachuk flips it high into the Quebec zone. And the Citadels with all kinds of time. Robida gets back. Varlamov's all over him. Robida gets away and controls behind the net. Now Varlamov steals it from Robida. Tries to center. Jaguar to the bench. It's loose in front. Charon tried to jam it home. It stopped. Varlamov in behind the goal. Robida falls on the puck. Varlamov knocks it out of his hands. DeLille controls. Extra skater on the ice for St. John. 49 seconds left. Charon can't hold in as Olsen forces it out to neutral ice. Bégin has it. Chops it off the board. Charon drives it in. 40 seconds left. Garon is out behind the net, leaving it. Nazardine fires it ahead. Now Bashkarov loses it. Creton in behind the net. Tried to center it. Cleared but not out. Sorokin for Varlamov. Shot blocked. And Bashkarov has a 2-on-1 with Olsen. Olsen moving down the right side. Plays it into the zone. Sorokin is back. 22 seconds to go. The Citadels are going to hang on for the victory. Out to center, it's Greton playing it back into the Quebec zone. And for whatever reason, Fredericton, Quebec, no matter where they play, they master the Flames, who have 7 skaters on the ice. This is called really using the extra skater. Not only did they have 5 with the goalie out for 6, they had 7, and they're called for too many men on the ice, a point that is certainly moot, as the Quebec Citadels are going to win this game.
What kind of caps off this evening is really a very, very big disappointment. The Flames playing well on the road, a couple of big wins, really played some good hockey, got some good goaltending, clutch goals. You know, guys really came to play, and I mean here tonight had a pretty good first period. Once again, and we've talked about this before, Aaron, you've got to bury your chances. Martin Saint-Louis not here, Matt Kelly's not here. Someone has to step up. Boy, this team really had their chances here tonight. I think Garon played extremely well, but they get the goals at the right time, and see a couple of subpar efforts from a couple of lines here. And McLean, Bégin, Clark, very, very good tonight, but the other guys, they're really going to have to pick the pace up a bit.
The game is over. 38 saves for Matthew Garon and a 4-2 Quebec victory. And what's left of the Fredericton Canadiens booster club cheering the Citadels here this evening. Not so sure if I was a Fredericton Canadian fan if I'd still cheer for Quebec. If you like the Winnipeg Jets, do you cheer for the Phoenix Coyotes?
Some do, but
why would you?
I understand why you would or wouldn't, but the bottom line is Fredericton Canadians, former fans, and the Quebec Citadels fans have to be happy in this performance tonight. The Citadels really escaped out of here with a win. Matthew Guérin, I think the main reason. He certainly had my vote for first star. And it's the woes at home ice keep on adding up for the St. John Flames after a great road trip. Really playing so well on the road lately. Last week against Cincinnati, really just absolutely looking brutal. Friday night, losing in overtime on Saturday, and then this debacle tonight. Really going to have to regroup.
We'll stay with you here for the 3 stars of tonight's game. They are all Quebec Citadels. Third star is Andrei Bashkarov. He had a couple of goals that gave Quebec the lead early in the second period. Second star is Pierre Sevigny. He had a couple of goals, snapping a 5-game drought without a point. And he scores the game-winning goal tonight. And the first star is indeed Matthew Guérin with 38 saves. He was brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. Big stage at the right time. You have to give the big guy credit coming back after some prior performances lately. Michel Therrien's got to be happy with Guérin's performance tonight.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Harbour Station, where 3 periods have been played here at Harbour Station. And the Quebec Citadels win by a score of 4-2. Jim, I was speaking just before we come on air. Hard work has obviously paid off for the Quebec Citadels here tonight. Not to take away from the Flames. You know, you can mention a few players that really played hard here tonight. Should have got the puck in the net, didn't get the right bounce. Guérin stood on his head, first star here tonight, deservingly so.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he's stolen. The first period alone tells the tale. The Flames outshot Quebec 15-4, and they just couldn't bury their opportunities. Second period, they looked extremely flat. No jump in their stride. Third period, all kinds of opportunities. Once again, like I said, after the first period, if missed opportunities were goals, Flames would have won this game about 35-4, but couldn't bury the biscuit tonight. They now find themselves 8 points behind Quebec. Still got a few games in hand left, so the panic button isn't pushed yet. But if I'm Rick Five and Tommy Watt, I'm scratching my head going, what happened? Played a great first period, out-hustled them, won the little wars that you have to do to win the battle, and then they just came out flat in the second period, couldn't bury it in the third period. They end up on the wrong side of the puck tonight.
I think we were talking also that Rico Fata, I think, deserved a good nod. Maybe if they would have got the win, he would have got one of the stars here tonight, because he played an exceptionally well game tonight. Almost looked like a Martin St. Louis on stilts out there with the wheels under him. I just thought this guy was just phenomenal out there. I mean, he had eyes on that puck, or the puck had eyes on him, because it followed him everywhere. But he just didn't get the star here tonight, but obviously a star, I think, in our minds and probably people here at Harbour Station.
Well, when we were talking to Stu McDonald in the second intermission, I said to him the big question mark with Rico was his puck sense. He wasn't quite sure where it was all the time, but he said that's just not the case anymore. 10, 15 games later now, I mean, he's all over the place. And I mean, you start at his wheels, and then you move on to just how well he performs out there and where he knows where his players are, where the puck is, and he's going to be a phenomenal player. It's like Stu said, it's scary because he is that good that he could be up in Calgary after the All-Star break.
Well, obviously, he's just down here to hone up some skills. I think you may say after Christmas they may start bringing him up if Calgary's woes, I guess you could say, continue to happen up there as they are. But with Nat Domicelli, St. Louis, and if you get Fat up there, that's a real good line for possibly second or third line. Hey, I'd even throw them in as a starting lineup. But here at Harbour Station, the Quebec Citadels win over the hometown St. John Flames by a score of 4-2. Stay tuned. I'm sorry. That's going to be it for tonight from Harbour Station.